All right. Well, welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. A good hour late, episode 49. This was a long. I don't even know. I'm rattled right now, guys. I'm rattled. We got a full house, by the way. Before we tell you why we were late, by the way, let's go around and let you know who is in studio and who's also with us today. Obviously, Rocco is not with us, but not in studio with us, but he is with us. Rock, how we feeling, dude? You had no idea what happened, by the way.
You just took me off the screen when you were.
No, I did.
Oh well,
that's my bad.
How about you? Oh, is
yeah,
that
take him off the screen. Real quick.
Brad's not even in the camera right now. There we go.
There he is.
All right, so we have everyone in here. Yes, and Sherry likes your suit too, by the way.
Thank you, Sherry. Really appreciate it.
All right, so anyway, we got Zach in studio. We got Brad. On the other side, though, we welcome back Nick Moore, long snapper Nick Moore. Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
And
Pleasure to be here.
And so professional football player and
sometimes
locked on
football.
Yeah. Ravens and locked on Ravens. Yes. Kevin Ostreicher. All right, guys. Brad, I think we're gonna first off, we have a poll up right now. So
I really tried with this poll. I really
know.
tried because Brad is the poll aficionado, and I was tasked with making the poll, and then I was told after the fact that I had to put the right answer in. And I did
still
not put
fucking
the right answer.
You gotta have it's like an SAT. You don't even give them the right answer.
Trick question. None of them are right.
You're supposed to just go by it by actually getting it right. You're supposed to not answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad what won actually won.
So which one?
Rocco turned the studio power off.
Well, we all know he did that. So
that is a true story, though. Rocco did turn the power.
Yeah. I mean, I did that to Nick the other day when he was on his way to Fox 45 to do our Sports Unlimited segment. So he's talking Ravens, and he gets in his car, and I call him immediately. Our director comes back, and he's like, power went off in the control room. I was like, oh, no. And all I could think about was like Nick on the highway driving all happy to do the interview in the suit all chipper. And I call him up. I'm like, dude, have you left your place yet? Like in a panic. And he's like, yeah. Like, I'm like, 20 minutes ago, like I'm about like 15, 20 minutes out. I was like,
at the 795, 695 split.
I was like, dude, you're gonna have to turn around. And he goes, all right. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. And like I immediately called Rip afterwards, like in a panic because I felt so bad. So won't happen again, Nick. We got our power back here. We're good to go.
Don't say that.
Yeah, make sure the power
come in.
Yeah, make sure the power bill's paid in up and everyone's ready to go.
They pay it. They pay it.
I'll be in there.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Okay,
Yeah,
but anyway,
Okay.
but for anyone here, thank you for joining us. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. This is episode 49 technically, but it's been a little bit different because we're running shows at different times. We are doing specials. Obviously, it's a huge week in Baltimore, AFC Championship game, Ravens, Chiefs. We're going to dive into that. We are going to talk about what's spicy around the NFL, and there's a lot of storylines, including head coaching vacancies that are no longer vacant. Actually, technically, two of them just filled up before we started the show today. We're going to talk a lot more Ravens. Shawn Merriman is going to come on to talk about Moon at Noon. Well, guess what? That's going to be on the spicy conversation. Don't you worry about it. About time. You have no idea. You just wait.
Crazy.
You just wait.
Crazy.
Why? But we're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh, Chargers. Shawn Merriman is going to join us, former Charger. He's going to talk about what it means for the fan base, for the franchise, and he has experience in the postseason. And so he'll talk about what it's like preparing for an AFC Championship game. All right, guys. Why not start with the most spiciness, at least for us? Brad, do you want to explain what the hell we've been doing for the last 2.5 hours?
I don't know if it's that long, but yeah, it is.
It was probably close.
Feels like it.
I was chasing this down.
Oh.
I love Baltimore. I do not like it.
Yeah.
Ryan and I were getting we got a new monitor. We have a big ass stand for the monitor. I was helping Ryan get it out of the car outside of our studio, put my phone down, gone.
Yeah.
We looked for it forever. I thought, because in typical Brad fashion, I leave my shit everywhere. So I thought maybe I lost it. And I was like, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll just look at the tracker and it'll tell me where it's at. Sure enough, it was a mile away from here.
At the
got lifted off on a bicycle. Google's crazy, by the way.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
It said biked 0.8 miles for the phone. Like it gave us how they got there. Too.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So-
very impressive.
Yeah, and here's
Called in some resources,
Yeah.
did some detective work. shout out, and turns out it went to a pawn shop.
Yeah.
And the motherfucker that took this phone to the pawn shop then took the SIM card out. So not only did I find my phone, thank God there's a Verizon downstairs.
Yeah, that is clutch.
Yeah,
That is
That's
really
huge.
clutch.
That's huge.
Went down to Verizon, now have an eSIM because that's a thing. And now we're on with the show.
Yeah. You know what?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
A lot
you know,
going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
like we start late because Rocco doesn't show up.
Like, there's
had
so many-
We've had worse
Like,
reasons.
what?
There's so-
All right.
This is like the best one.
Yeah, this is probably the first legit time we've had a reason to start late. Every other time, I'm not going to lie, people, it's self-inflicted.
Dude,
Yeah, and
I
we'll,
was-
and we'll,
you know,
this was well, okay, well,
I guess it's kind of
ridiculous.
we'll get Rocco on the screen here for a second. Can we get
No,
Rocco back?
I'm-
up
you
here
know
for a
what?
minute?
I don't appreciate it. I'm getting cooked by you guys, and then Chuck.
Okay,
comes
get
in
off the
here in
screen.
chat,
Yeah, all right.
Get off the
fine.
screen.
firing away and saying, "Why is my webcam on the seat of the chair? I look like I'm looking down a toilet bowl." Chuck, not that I've done that before. Maybe I have. Who knows? But I've tried my best
Chuck,
So
we
I can
can't agree
work.
more.
do this at the same time. I just for the ridiculous.
Are you done?
This is
Yeah,
already a
Grant's over.
great
I'm
show.
Love you, Chuck.
We do love Chuck and Chuck, thank you. We couldn't agree more about
Yep.
Rocco. But yeah, honestly, if you guys could have seen, we were trying to turn the studio upside down because at first we thought we left the door cracked for a second to go get the studio stand or the monitor stand. We have a lot more coming for the studio. And
Yeah.
man, so we thought someone broke into the studio, but it doesn't make it any better that someone still took the camera from downstairs where you still need an access card to get in here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this whole building's on lockdown.
It was very similar to like it got to the point, when like you can't find the remote in a group of people, like accusations started flying. It was like, Rip, have you checked your backpack? Like, why would it be in
We were
Ripken's
looking through the
backpack?
we were looking
Yeah,
at the dumbest shit.
I had just walked in when this happened, and I was looking through my backpack like that. Like I'm like, oh man, I cannot be the one to turn up with this phone.
You could have planted it on you as you were walking in.
I
You could have,
know, there was-
zipped it in there.
There were allegations that it was an inside job.
You might have been the saboteur.
I was gonna say, it's
So-
Nick's allegations that it was an inside job.
Inside man. Yeah.
Well, luckily, but yes, so Brad and I drove to the pawn shop, got in the car, got out of the car, ran across the street. He got it. We got back in. All's good, kind of, but that's why we're late starting the show. It wasn't
There's
because
also like the pawn shop was also right next to the block with all the strip clubs and shit. So it wasn't like a great part of town.
Oh, he probably had like a 2-for-1. He got
And
the
this
money.
pawn
Made
shop
some
was
money and went
Yeah,
straight to
he
the strip
went-
club.
there
this
you
pawn
go.
shop was also in the basement.
Oh, wow. You're brave for even
Yeah.
going down there.
I know. Well, that's why.
That's why I brought
that's
it
why
up.
I was not going alone.
guilty. That's why I came along. But this is what we do at the Ryan Ripken Show. We help each other out. People helping people, and that's just what we're all about. Hey, but guys, that was our issue. Let's talk about some other, I wouldn't say issues. Maybe some teams solved their issues, right? So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. We're going to have Shawn Merriman on to talk about one of the spicy things because Jim Harbaugh talk about vacancies that's no longer vacant. Shawn Merriman wasn't kidding when he said that Jim Harbaugh wasn't going to leave LA without being the Chargers coach. He was true.
Yeah.
He was honest about that. We'll get into that one. But guys, 2 other head coaching vacancies gone. Raheem Morris going to the Atlanta Falcons, used to be the Tampa Bay Bucks head coach way back then. And then Dave Canales, the Tampa Bay Bucks offensive coordinator, is going to Carolina. I'm scared for him. I'll be honest. I'm a little nervous.
I like it.
I like it for him. Okay, let's start with him.
Yeah.
The Panthers have a new head coach. He's a very bright mind and obviously helped Baker Mayfield out tremendously. They had a great season, but he's going into a tough task where his job is going to be solely, can you fix and lift up and bring to the highest potential Bryce Young, Zach? And I know you love Dave.
Yeah, no, I was actually wanted Dave to be the Ravens offensive coordinator this year when that was kind of he was with Seattle. I want to say he was the quarterbacks coach in Seattle last year.
Correct.
Ends up getting the job as the OC in Tampa Bay. My biggest hope, and I guess I don't want to say it's a fear for him, I just hope they don't give him a short leash like they did Reich. Because he's a young head coach. I give him time to go out there and fail because it's a young coach, a young team. I hope they get him some more talent, especially for Bryce Young. Like, get this man some protection on the line and get him some more receivers than Adam Thielen, because poor Adam Thielen has to get like 15 targets a game at his age. And I know that was not what he was really hoping for when he was going to Carolina, was having to put his body through all that. But I just hope that they slow it down. Don't expect that this year is going to change everything, and really just put building blocks on for Bryce Young to just keep improving each week, kind of like how we've seen Baker Mayfield this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baker Mayfield, it's been tremendous. And you brought up Frank Wright, canned early on. And this was a staff. You have Bryce Young, and we heard the reports and rumors. Was Frank really, did he really want Bryce Young? Was that his guy? And you heard all the talk around CJ Stroud. Doesn't help that CJ Stroud is now the superstar. He's not a superstar in the making. He is a superstar for the future for the Houston Texans. But Kevin, it'd be really nice if the Panthers, had a first-round pick, maybe the number 1 overall pick to work with. But this is the challenge. This isn't a situation that he's going into where it's making you feel good. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, there is so much work left to do, and it's going to be hard to do it through the draft early on.
Yeah, they've got some work to do. And in order to make this hire for Carolina, I think you would at least have to talk to Canales about, look, the assets we have right now, we moved them all for this guy in Bryce Young. So we're going to have to try to make this work here. And that was a big question for me, was would the guy coming in to Carolina be a Bryce Young guy? Because we've seen it where a team will draft a quarterback high. They'll take a coach maybe the year after, and the coach won't want the quarterback. And then all of a sudden it becomes, well, the quarterback is cast off and it's a bad situation.
Josh Rosen.
Exactly. So in Carolina, you got to get him some weapons. I mean, Zach's exactly right. They didn't do I think they tried, but the vision just didn't work out. I mean, Miles Sanders was a disaster over there. Hayden Hurst had some moments and then had an actually pretty scary injury that happened. So for me, I feel like you get a wide receiver in there, but now it's a challenge of recruiting free agents to Carolina, getting a guy in there because you don't have a first-round pick to go spend on something like that. So hopefully, I mean, Canales has had a rise, pass game coordinator in Seattle, Russell Wilson, really good things to say about him. Obviously, with Geno Smith, he was kind of the architect behind that comeback year before going to Tampa to be the offensive coordinator. And obviously with Baker, that whole thing has been a great story. So he's had this kind of meteoric rise here. And this is what we've seen, these younger offensive minds coming in and hopefully turning a young quarterback's career around, because the rookie year for Bryce Young was all over the place. Putting a rookie in that situation, sometimes it is about, the culture and what's around him. And if there are so many distractions, like what happened with Frank Reich and obviously some of the owner stuff too, it can hinder development. So I'm hoping that this can be what Bryce Young needs to take the next step.
Yeah, I mean, and Nick and Rock, I'll set you up here next. But Nick, being in a locker room where, I mean, you luckily so far in your career, you spent time with Baltimore. You've seen this culture. When you're looking at the outside, not only is Canales tasked with getting your franchise quarterback to take off, you have to convince a group of men in there that he is the right man for a job on an organization that all they have seen is failures since really the Cam Newton era down there in Carolina.
Yeah, I think he definitely has his hands full in Carolina. They've had issues for the last several years, like you said, and I think, coming into a new system like that with a young quarterback, kind of central focus of the team. The whole team is relatively young. He's definitely got his work cut out for him. But again, he being in Tampa this year, he really turned around Baker and really got that offensive going, because they kind of struggled even last year. And Baker has struggled, the last several years. And so I think what he was able to do there, if he can continue to build on that and take that into Carolina, I think, they can be a good team. That division isn't that great. I mean,
wide open.
Honest. The three teams at the top were 8 and 9 or 9 and 8, with the Bucs winning it. So, they're a couple games away from being in contention in that division. So it's going to be fun, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I have to wonder. I wish they would make this public.
I think, hold on for a second, Brad.
Yeah, I think your mic's out.
Mike,
I got it.
There we go. Go ahead.
I have to wonder. I wish they would make this public. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. There's got to be an insider that knows, like, what offers getting made to certain coaches, and if they say no.
Yeah.
Like, was there an offer made before this, and then he was like, and whoever was made that offer was like, hell no, I'm not going to work for you. I'm not like, or even just like requests for interviews, and they're like, no, thanks, but no thanks, because of just David Tepper's reputation, right? Like, if you had an opportunity for a head coaching job as a coordinator or whatever, Like, would you take it if it was with Carolina, just because of not the fact that like the team itself, but just the organization who's running the show?
Yeah, I mean, it's look, of all the places, was it fair to say going into this, we ranked this before, Carolina was the least likable destination? Did we? I think we all kind of said that.
we all agree.
Yeah, that's
right?
a fact.
Yeah.
That's without
Yeah.
a doubt.
So, and right now, that's to me what's terrifying for a young coach that has done some tremendous things over the last couple of years. You're in a situation where you hope that there's patience, but you're just not too sure what's going to happen. But it can't get any worse, right? Like, it can't get any worse.
Oh,
than last
don't
year.
say
Say
that.
that,
mean,
dude.
but-
There's only 0-16 is very possible.
Yeah.
0-17.
They were
now,
pretty
yeah.
close to that.
17.
They were pretty close to that this year too.
All right, you know what? I'll bite my tongue here. But hey, Rock, let's get Rock on the screen here, because that's not the only move. The other coach that got hired besides Jim Harbaugh was Raheem Morris with the Atlanta Falcons, and Ravens fans are getting a little bit nervous, excited, anxious, because Raheem Morris took a spot, and two of the coordinators in Baltimore are still up for grabs, or maybe they're going to stay put in the Charm City.
Yeah, which is good for every coaching hire, head coaching hire that gets made. It's a head coaching hire that doesn't involve Mike Macdonald or Todd Monken. Of the two, I think Mike Macdonald is more likely to get a head coaching position this season because of how young he is. But looking at Todd Monken and what he's done with Lamar Jackson, the development, especially this season, that is a guy that could work with a young, talented quarterback going forward. I'm not out here selling, hey, take Todd Monken or take Mike Macdonald to teams at all, Ravens fans. So don't get on me for that. But these are two guys that are hot commodities right now, or so it seems, with interviews and interview requests. But maybe it's just not the right fit for them. Or like Brad said, we don't know who's getting offers and who's not. But I'm sure if someone's got an offer on the table, an Ian Rappaport or an Adam Schefter would know about it and report it. Like with Raheem Morris, that offer was on the table from the Falcons. They put it out there, and then he decided to accept it. But for Raheem Morris, you got to feel some type of way, because back in 2020, I believe he got passed up for this exact opportunity and then went out to LA. So it's, for him, it's like I would be coming back in with kind of a chip on my shoulder. Like, hey, this is what you guys were missing in not hiring me before. And they have talent. We talked about the Falcons, and they have talented skill players, talented people on the defensive side of the ball. But looking at that offense, it could be special with the right coaching and the right scheme. So Raheem Morris, while he has his work cut out for him in Atlanta, I think it's a pretty good position to walk into, where you have Drake London, where you have Kyle Pitts, where you have Bijan Robinson, where you have other guys that can really help you win football games down the stretch if you put the right team together and build around them. But for McDonald and Monken, it's like, okay, like they didn't get hired by these teams. There's hope for Ravens fans right now that maybe, just maybe, they will get to keep both of these guys for at least one more season going forward. But we'll have to wait and see. There's still two head coaching vacancies still open right now.
And those two head coaching vacancies, the Commanders and the Seahawks right now, currently.
Yeah.
But how about this? Because this was a name being brought in there, and I just saw it. And Belichick isn't getting any love. And
Was just about to say that, yeah.
And Brad, so here's the part now, guys. It's becoming very plausible that Bill Belichick won't be a head coach next year. And maybe that's what people thought or wouldn't think would happen. The Falcons went a different way. It's a great spot for Morris, by the way. We talked about the talent of it and the team. Hopefully you have the right offensive mind that goes down there to Atlanta. But guys, do we think Bill takes a year off and comes back, or is this kind of it for him?
I think, it's crazy because we talked about these like three veteran coaches, Belichick, Vrabel, and Pete Carroll, who all got let go. And now there's a possibility none of them coach this year, because Ben Johnson in Detroit could get maybe the Commanders or Seattle, and then maybe another young coordinator, But at this point, you're looking at least one of those guys isn't going to coach this year because there are only two openings left. But for me, if you're Belichick and you look around with the Commanders or Seattle, what's the quarterback situation going to look like? Because we talked about this, where I'm sure he doesn't want to go through another Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi carousel. I think he wants to get a guy in there. And maybe it is with Washington. You use that draft pick to get somebody in. You maybe bring back Bieniemy as your offensive coordinator. I don't know. In Seattle, is Geno Smith the guy you want to go with? Or do you want to bring somebody who might be on the trade block in? Or maybe you trade something? I don't know.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you got to wonder, because Vrabel interviewed with the Falcons too, correct?
Yeah.
So you got to wonder, and that's why I would love to know if there was offers made to either Belichick or Vrabel. And if they said, obviously they would have said no if they were offered the job.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder, because like I would be signing Mike Vrabel tomorrow. The next day he got fired. So you got to wonder if it's like, well, he was offered and he didn't take it. And so then like Raheem Morris was the next best option, because I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I would just imagine that a guy like Vrabel, Belichick, I would be chomping at the bit to get.
Well, I was just more like what you're saying, a guy like Vrabel or Belichick over Raheem Morris would have made more sense to me, because I thought they were going to go offense. I thought they wanted an offensive mind to kind of work with those weapons. So for them to go defense, I would have assumed it would have been a Belichick or a Vrabel. And I didn't really think, Morris was really in the running. I thought he was getting, looks at, and I thought, obviously Harbaugh doesn't take the job. He goes out to LA. But I thought as soon as Harbaugh took the job, it was like, okay, Belichick's going to go in there again for a third time and then probably come out with the deal.
Yeah, it really seemed like earlier, maybe it's the reports, maybe it was smoke, but it felt like, oh, Belichick, Falcons. But it felt like this isn't a window where he's going to coach. I mean, he probably want to coach for another decade. He's going to live and die on the football field probably. But but that's in the consideration for teams. How long is he going to last? And do you want someone that's more up and coming or younger that has more of a pulse on the team and the game? And for the Falcons, I mean, Nick, you mentioned it, but the division's wide open. But Nick, I'll ask you real quickly, and then we're going to move on here in a second. But is this it for Bill? And what do you? I was about to say something I shouldn't say, but go ahead, Nick. Is this?
I don't think it's it for Bill. I think maybe some of the issue with Bill was that in New England he was able to be the GM and the head coach, and so he could run everything kind of how he saw fit. Maybe he wants that similar like role with a team that they don't have available for him with already having a GM. But I don't think that. How could you not give him one more chance? Like if you're a team maybe they're right, like you said, Brad. Maybe he got an offer from Carolina, and he was like, "This is a dumpster fire. I don't want to be a part of it," And maybe the same thing in Atlanta. I think Atlanta would have been he went there twice. I thought that for sure, being they were going to come take him. A team that is very close to winning that division. And they had a chance. A couple things didn't go their way in some of their games against their opponents, or divisional opponents. But they're 1 or 2 wins away from going to the playoffs, potentially being what the Bucs ended up being this year in the playoffs. So a coach like Belichick, I think, would be a huge fit. But obviously, it didn't work out because he's not there. But I for sure think he's going to have at least one more opportunity somewhere.
And something just
hey guys. Yes, I saw something on I think Bleacher Report just put it out.
It's a report for me, aren't you?
You're just gonna drop that, Kevin?
You can tell. I'll let you have
it.
We're on the same wavelength sleep schedule, just like what we think. Everything.
Don't even get me started on a sleep schedule. I know.
Yeah, it's insane, man. I never sleep. Dan Graziano of ESPN, he was saying while Arthur Blank, the owner, was believed to have desire to hire Belichick, there were hurdles regarding the structure of the organization. It couldn't be cleared and prevented that from happening.
There you go.
Whoop, there it is.
Exactly. What happens
there it is.
When you're a big fish, you're kind of in command a little bit. Where
he ran both sides of it.
Both sides of the interview, exactly.
Yeah, he was the interview. Like he's interviewing himself in New England. The coach and the general manager.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, Arthur Blank's the owner of the team. He has the final say. But I think they wanted to approach it like by committee. They wanted to have that committee approach when it came to hiring a head coach, like putting a team together to do that. And an owner like that, I think it's awesome that he did that. Whereas I don't see David Tepper doing something like that. I feel like he was like, this is our guy regardless. I think Dave Canales is a great hire, by the way, for the Panthers. But that's an owner that's going to be like, my way or the highway. This is how we're going to do it right here.
Well, we're talking about the quarterbacks. I mean, for the Falcons, I'm sure they're going to try to find somebody else other than Desmond Ridder. But if Belichick didn't want that guy and they said, no, we really believe in this guy, we really want this guy, and Belichick's like, this isn't the guy I want, then that could have been a hurdle that they're talking about.
Well, and I do respect the hell out of Arthur Blank in that situation of saying, even if he did have interest, to go, you know what do my football people around think? Let's talk about this. And do we want to give up that much control? And that's no knock to Bill Belichick. we're not going to see a run like the Pats just had. I mean, I hope in Baltimore you would, but let's just be realistic. What they did was ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
To mimic that somewhere else is not fair to assess. But what other teams have done well, and this is something in Baltimore we've seen, what Steve Bisciotti has done, he said, hey, I trust my football people. And if you want to go back to the original story with the Ravens, they didn't even want Jonathan Ogden, or the owner at the time, Art Modell. He didn't want Jonathan Ogden. And he trusted Ozzie to say he was the best player in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me on this. Trusted him then, trusted him the rest of the way. The Ravens are in a great position. That's what great owners do. They allow their football people to make the right decisions. All right, well, a big decision just happened out in LA, by the way.
Massive.
And I mean,
Huge.
ownership made a big decision. I think one person might have actually stopped them from leaving, if I'm not mistaken. And it's actually, he's been on before. We're glad to have him back. Shawn Merriman, multiple-time All-Pro with the Los Angeles Chargers, Maryland native, Maryland legend. There's a lot of things he's got going on.
List of
Dog.
Escalade.
Absolute dog.
Also, he's got to teach Zach a few things. But let's bring Shawn on if we can right now. Shawn, welcome back.
Hey.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
How's it going?
Hey, so Shawn, first off, the lights out looked like it went really well in January. It looked sick, but also Zach needs some help because he's been trying to do his push-ups here.
No, it's not going well. I don't think we've made any progress on the fighting ability since we last
I saw that clip. I saw that clip of you. It did not look good.
Yeah, but talk to us a little bit about how it went to start off, because it looked like easy. Also for Fubo, it was easy to access for me. But how did you feel it went?
Yeah, it was our biggest one yet. I mean, we had 3 bomb burners in there. Our main event, man, was probably our main event I've ever seen. I mean, these guys just flat out got after it. And one thing about us is that we're kind of growing. I'm in a fortunate space, right? Get a chance to come on platforms like this and talk and get out there or whatever. So we're flying. So with the combination of the type of fights we're putting on, our production, and being able to get out there, more people finding us on Fubo and Bally's. We're on Bally's. I saw the other day at MSG had us on too. I was in a restaurant in New York and it popped on. Ooh. So when you're getting eyeballs like that, you're growing. Everybody wants to come and fight for you now. I tell you, this time last year, I had fighters like, oh yeah, I know you're Shawn Merriman, yeah, but what for Lights Out Extreme Fight? What's that? Now it's like, I can't get him out my DMs, man. He's all over it. So we got another our biggest fight that we've had in the history of the company. We've actually almost 60% sold out in this fight already, this far out. Lights Out Extreme Fight in 14, February 16th. In fact, and I didn't really have it to work out this way, but we are fighting in Long Beach, and it's a day before UFC fights in Anaheim, which is right next door. And we'll be again live on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV, Bally's, Amazon Freeview, Roku, some other platforms. So it's been cool, man. I mean, now we're really cranking them out.
Well, hell yeah, that's amazing. Great timing, by the way. And actually, well, Nick, you can't do this. So Shawn, this is Nick Moore. He's actually Ravens long snapper. Unfortunately, he's out for the year.
Shawn, how are you?
But I think he's ready to kick someone's ass when the time comes. So yeah. I was telling him a little bit about it. But that could be the moment. But Nick, you're not.
You said long snapper, right? So
yes, sir.
I played with a great one, man, John Condo at the University of Maryland, and I was so pissed off. He got a chance to leave practice and only show up 1 or 2 days. And I started thinking to myself, and I started to learn how to snap. I said, damn, I'm trying to get out of practice, right? So I started snapping a little bit myself, man. But he ended up playing obviously for the Raiders for about 14, 15 years.
Yeah, he played a long time.
But he was a beast, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when Nick wants to show up here, Shawn, we have him come on time to time to talk some shop, talk some ball, kind of like what we do with you. Actually, and both of them are in studio. No, I was going to make a joke. Rocker, you do make it in studio, but it seems like Nick's made it down here more than you have recently. Good to see you, Rock. You're good.
That's good to see you too. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, Shawn, I know you got to be pretty ecstatic. Is the rumors true that you didn't leave Jim, let him leave LA, or if it wasn't, at least you got your guy, right? Lock the doors. He ain't going anywhere.
I did. Look, I'll say this. I did everything but stand in front of the door. So I was texting it. It's crazy. Because obviously, I got a really good relationship with the organization, and I still work closely with them a lot. Still, obviously, support them on social media. I'm at all the home games. I do a lot of the post-game shows on CBS after the game and stuff like that. I still work close with them. But, man, when I tell you that this thing was tight-lipped, about what's going on. And I know that as far as the interview process, he's leaving, he's going, I know that was public, but I'm talking about the process and kind of what the status was. It was so tight-lipped. because I think that they wanted to make such a big splash, and they did, by the way. They wanted to make such a big splash with Jim Harbaugh and have the fan base kind of hanging on. This is the first, maybe it's the first time I've been paying attention, but I don't think we've ever seen a process this public about when the guy's leaving the building, when he's coming in, how long he's there. I mean, they had people on the edge of their seat, gripping the seats to try to figure out what in the hell was going on. And I think they made the best decision that the organization could have made. They made the best decision that it got the fans excited again, man. It's been pretty big.
Yeah, I meant to ask you then, because on Good Morning Football, I want to play a little clip for you because they're saying, and I want to hear your opinion on this. This is why I want you to listen to it. They're saying that this move for the Chargers, this is possibly the biggest move in the Chargers history, at least in the last few decades here. I know you guys had success in the 2000s, and that's not about what the team has accomplished, but I think about for this next wave of decades to come, how big of a move this could impact. And for those that are just tuning in, we're with Shawn Merriman, multiple All-Pro, lights out, Maryland legend, Charger legend. All right, Shawn, you heard it there. I think we've talked about it. Are they right? I mean, Jim Harbaugh's resume is documented, but are they right for thinking all these expectations now that the Chargers should have going into 2024?
So this is my thing, right? And this is before the coaching hire when they talk about Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh. Just because you bring in a big name don't automatically mean that you're going to win, right? You're going to go into the Super Bowl, but you can only go by a guy's history. You can only go by that. And the truth is that he's turned around some terrible programs. He's turned around some terrible organizations. He's gotten some average players to play above average and at a skyrocketed level. I mean, that San Francisco team that came in, I mean, he made some of those guys look like all-world players. And so what he does when he gets in, he gets guys to buy in. In fact, last night, I was talking to Kasim Osgood. Remember Kasim Osgood, who plays special teams, one of the best special teams players of all time for us down there. And I texted him. I said, man, now that I'm thinking, I said, didn't you play for Harbaugh for a minute in San Fran? He said he did. He said, I loved him. He said, I absolutely loved him. He'll run through a wall for that dude. And I got a long text message about how he just cares about the players, how he's getting the most out of guys. And I said, damn, that's pretty wild. And one thing is, he's never walked into a situation like this in his coaching career, period. You just saw everybody they named from Stanford to Michigan to San Francisco. All these were below average teams when they came in. The only reason why the Chargers missed the playoffs was because of lack of leadership. They didn't miss it because of lack of talent. And so coming in right away, and he's been, by the way, this dude, his manifesting of Justin Herbert and the Chargers, he's been talking about Justin Herbert publicly for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that being said, I mean, I think he's seen this already. That's what kind of the psychotic craziness goes in, because he kind of talked himself and talked his way and thought his way into this situation, right? And so Justin Herbert, we already know what he can do, but he's been underutilized, haven't been put in the right situation. That team has been lacking identity. I've gone to the games. I'm like looking at the defense. I'm looking at offense. I'm like, what in the hell? What are they? Are they a running team? Are they a hard hitting team? Are they a physical team? What the hell are they? They had no identity. Well, guess who got an identity walking in? Your head coach. Your head coach has the most identity. So what's going to happen? It trickles down. If Dan Campbell and the Lions didn't show anybody this year what a head coach can do for a franchise, that should let everybody know that coaches matter. And I don't care what they say, the players. No, coaching matters. Dan Campbell got everybody in that whole damn organization believe that they can go out and win football games. So day one, when Jim Harbaugh walks in that building, he's going to grab the attention of everybody in there. And by the way, the guys who ain't getting on board, the ones who ain't buying in, you either won't play or you're going to be out of there. And that's the way it should be.
Rock.
No, you
Damn, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was. I had to pause real quick right there and just take that in, because that was great. That was great. Shawn fired me up. I want to run through a wall right now just listening to you talk about Jim Harbaugh.
Run through that TV right behind you.
Yeah, all those TVs. It's a lot of money right there. Shawn, I remember when we were talking Brandon Staley, it was before his firing. You had said early on when he got the job, I think it was either the first day or after the press conference, he had reached out to you, had a conversation with you, and gave you a call kind of to ask your advice and talk about the organization. Has that conversation with Jim Harbaugh happened yet? And if not, how do you see that going when it does?
No, I think that look, he got a lot bigger things to worry about coming in. I mean, the press conferences and getting acquainted with everybody. There's a lot of process. I think that with Brandon Staley, coming in, he was a less known guy, right? So you want to get in touch with some of the people that have more notoriety or bigger names or bigger affiliation with the organization. I think it was the right path for Brandon Staley to reach out to me and a few other guys. He called some other guys too with affiliations who had some name recognition for the previous years with the team. With Jim Harbaugh, man, I think it's a different situation. I'm sure I'm going to talk to him. I'm sure I'm going to spend some time with him, but I'm not looking for a call from him. I think that, as psychotic as he is in a great way, he's probably already game planning and going through, looking at film. I mean, he's probably looking at film and that 60 point plus beating that the Raiders put on them and see who quit, see what guys, jogging to the ball and don't want to play, looking to clean house. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts when you got it because you're bringing in a superstar, right? There's not too many times that you bring in a superstar coach. Brandon Staley wasn't that. He was a guy who got an opportunity from Tom Telesco because he had a relationship with Tom Telesco. But we all know after everything how it rolled out that he wasn't the guy fit for the job. It's the opposite when you talk about Jim Harbaugh. You're bringing in a superstar coach that's going to make superstar decisions and get guys going right now. So I'm not looking for that call, at least immediately anyway.
Shawn, you talked about that Raiders game and whatnot, that beatdown. Those fans.
That was the night we had them on.
They do not like you, man. They were preying on you. I know it's all good fun, but the comments, we tagged you in a video and you collaborated with us. It was filled with Raider Nation just going right for you after that game. That was like, damn, they are preying on your downfall right there.
Oh, I love it. They brighten my day. They make my day better. It's nothing more I love than pissing off a Raider fan. So when they get a chance to take a shot at me, they take it. You saw it firsthand.
Oh,
if I was like some of these soft guys out here, I would have deactivated my social media because I was out this close from them sitting there lighting me up, man. But I think this. Of course, I'm a bag on the Raiders always, but I think they made a great decision in bringing in Antonio Pierce, right? I mean, that was the only man for the job. But this division has just gotten a lot tougher. And I'm not talking about just coaches, players, or whatnot. I mean, you got to play each other twice a year, right? So instead of a coach coming in like Jim Harbaugh thinking about a Super Bowl or thinking about playoffs, you got to be the best team in your division because the best team in your division was the Super Bowl champs and have been the Super Bowl champs. You got to come out and dethrone them right away by establishing your dominance in your own division.
Yeah, I just think back. It was that night, Shawn. We talked to you.
It was getting brutal,
or maybe it was right before. Yeah. Call off the dogs that night. That was tough. I'm sorry for your guys, but hey, it's led to Jim. We're here with Jim Harbaugh, and I think Kevin, you got a Jim Harbaugh related question.
Yeah, definitely, Shawn. First of all, I wasn't on here for the first time you came on, so it's nice to meet you. With Jim, I feel like, you mentioned that psychoticness that he has, like the energy, and I feel like it's something that can be so contagious. And you mentioned them needing an identity here, and we know Jim is super passionate about everything. But how excited are you that, Justin Herbert now gets to work with a guy? Because I think a lot of Chargers fans are saying we need to get the guy for Justin, and we need Justin to be able to work with this guy. Is Jim the right fit for Justin and what this team needs?
I use it for this, right? You take a guy from college, you get drafted. Some of these guys are really good in college, but they go to some bad organizations. And when you go to a bad organization, you got bad locker room. Before you know it, you're jumping right in with the bad attitudes, the guys that don't want to work hard. So you're fitting in that mold, right? I think that with Justin Herbert, he's about to see for the first time with a real coach as far as the direction that he wants to go. Getting them to buy in, getting them to believe, because I felt like a lot of these guys just lost belief. I mean, there's no other way to get 60+ points slapped on you, right? You got to believe, because even if you don't like your head coach, if you respect him, you don't let nobody put up 60 points, on you. That just doesn't happen at the pro level. So that showed me a lot that the guys kind of lost faith in him. So that's going to be the opposite of Jim Harbaugh day one when he get in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the energy of a coach, the culture, and Nick, I was just thinking about this. If the Harbaughs in general, like this, the family just coaches, man. Like it runs deep in their veins. That's why I think they're going to coach as long as they can. Shawn, I think one of the things that I've noticed, or shouldn't say noticed, I think what I've loved the most, and I think this is important for Herbert and for the other Chargers, is the fact that Jim Harbaugh took so much adversity at Michigan. And people can say that they were stealing signs or whatever was happening. It felt like Michigan the entire year, everyone was trying to derail their season. And yes, he wasn't coaching some of it, but as a player, seeing Jim go through that, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Like, shit's tough. Like, the media is brutal. They're ruthless. Yeah. It's got to feel better seeing that a guy has been through all of this, that it feels like a guy that Justin Herbert, and he's going to be criticized. I feel like everyone criticizes what happens and saying Herbert's not good enough, and you believe Herbert's a top quarterback, but I think it's going to help finally having someone that's going to say, hey, it's going to happen anyway. Let me see if I can best prepare you for the shit that's coming your way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no question about it. You got to believe that Jim Harbaugh has a chip on his shoulder, right? I mean, you have to believe that, and that chip is going to be passed down to Justin Herbert. That chip is going to be passed down to the rest of the team. Also, too, you got two like-minded people. There's going to be a lot of, as you just said, a lot of relation there where they're going to understand each other. Like, hey, people thought that we were good in Michigan. We won a title because we stole signs, and Justin Herbert is, and all. If you heard about Pete Carroll and all the great motivators in football or in sports in general, they find that little nuance. They find that little trigger point, that connection to get that guy going. That's what I think. That's going to happen immediately between Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. There's going to be that connection, that chip on your shower. You fell off. You're not as good. You're a social media quarterback. I mean, I can see all these things are passed down to him, and I would like to be around when he says it, when he hears it, so I can get that chip a little bit myself, because I do believe that there's a lot of connection, a lot of correlation here that's going to be passed on to help these guys get going right away.
And so we're talking right now with Shawn Merriman, by the way, guys, and Shawn knows what he's talking about. And if you don't believe me, the guy played at the highest level, was an all-pro at the highest level, played in the AFC Championship game, and covers the Chargers. You have a pulse on everything that's going on. So for those that don't know, and if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Zach, I know you got your questions stolen from Rocco, but
I know Rocco stole I was going to ask you about the Raiders beef. You and Raiders fans, I didn't realize that was like the biggest beef on in NFL Twitter, but I'll move on to my next question. The Chargers recently, I feel like their kryptonite has been losing these close games. So what I love the most about Jim Harbaugh is he's a coach that has always found a way to win those games. And it didn't matter if they were ahead the whole time and it got close at the end, if they were behind and have to find a way to pull it out. And so are you I guess not most excited, but is something that you liked about Harbaugh was his ability to go win games, where in recent years, especially in Herbert's career, he's been let down where he gets them a lead with a few minutes left and then he gets the ball back with 20 seconds down, 6 points.
Yeah, and guess what, man? It's all about, look, when you got a talent team like they do, it's about putting guys in position to go out and win football games. And that's what's been lacking. That's what's been the biggest problem with them. Because we all know they got players. I mean,
yeah.
You look on the defense side of the ball to Derwin James and Khalil Mack and Joey. I mean, they got guys, and we know that they're all pros. We know they're Pro Bowlers. So what in the hell happened, right, guys? Nobody falls off like that unless you got some catastrophic injury that no one knows about. That's the only way you fall off. If it's not that, then you're doing something at the head coaching position that's not completely accurate, not getting guys going. So. And it sucks, man. The games that they lost within 6 points, because, right at the end of the season, we just look at the record. What they won 5, 6 games, whatever the record was. We look at the record. We don't look at how many games they lose within 6 points. And if they lost 3, 4 games within 6 points this year, well, guess what? Those 5 or 6 wins become 8 or 9. Your season looks a little bit different then. So that's why I think that this job. For Jim Harbaugh was so lucrative, and I'm not just talking about the money aspect. Is that you going right now, if they win 5 or 6 games, those 3 or 4 games they lost by 6 points or less, you get those games, you automatically upgraded the team. It's no different when people talking about Dion in Colorado, right? They won 1 game.
Yeah.
So if you go in and when you win 4 games, that's an upgrade. That's a better season. He goes out and he wins 9 or 10 games this year. Guess what? They're on the path to getting better. And then you go out, you win a conference championship, you get into playoffs, you win an AFC championship game, you put yourself in a position to win a Super Bowl. All these things, man, are super important. And I am absolutely sure that played a part into him coming there. If they came in and there was no Justin Herbert and they were 4 or 5 or whatever, and not a lot of upside, you look at it, they're getting blown out left and right. That job doesn't look so pretty anymore. But now you come in, you win those 3 games they lost by 6 points or less. You've upgraded everything that's happened with the organization, and that has to be a great feeling.
Yeah. So looking ahead then to next year, what would you consider a successful season? Is it record based, or is it something more where it's the way the guys are playing? You know, you can see that the attitude has changed in the organization. What are you kind of looking for to see, okay, yeah, the right steps are being taken?
Yeah, the records matter. I mean, regardless of how you want to put it, the records matter. You know, if they're with that team, they're 10-win team, right? Yeah. I mean, they have to win 10 games, in my opinion. But also, more importantly, they got to establish their dominance back in that division, right? They just do, and you got to start to kind of dethrone the Super Bowl champs. You got to dethrone and be dominant, not just beat Denver. You got to be dominant. You got to crush Denver. You got to go out and beat the Raiders because of the Raider hate, which we just talked about for 15 years in my book. But and then you got to go out and you got to split games with Kansas City, and then hopefully at some point dominate them too, right? As you get better, so it starts to dominate the division first, and then start to get into the playoffs, then start getting into all the Super Bowl talk. But you got to go out and dominate that division again.
Yeah, it's been a while. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah. So, Shawn, one thing that I've been seeing flying around on the headlines when it comes to this, position for Jim is that, Jim's history with front office and like his big personality, obviously clashing with other big personalities, and the headlines flying around about how the Spanish family loves to be super involved with everything, and maybe that could be an oil and water type of combination. And I wanted to know if you thought that you could kind of put those kind of that narratives to bed, or do you think that it is going to be a challenge, but it's a challenge that they can get through, and it's not something that fans in general really need to worry about? Because I think that is something that fans kind of like think about a lot with the way that we've kind of seen, especially with history in San Francisco, obviously completely different organization, but it's questions that have been arising since this has kind of become rumor, and now obviously we know where Jim is.
I would say that if he didn't play there, right? If he already was in an organization, if he already hadn't had to deal directly with ownership in the front office, understanding how things work, understanding how the Spanos family are, and understanding the culture, and if that didn't happen, I would say that could be a big concern, right? For a coach coming in, I want to control the roster, I want to control the drafting, I want to control. I would say that's a little bit more of a problem if you already haven't been in an organization between them, they know you, right? And so I think that relationship's there, and it's more of a respect level, man. I think that at the end of the day, and people can say all they want to, right? Because a lot of people are followers. Oh, the team is cheap. Well, we know they're not cheap anymore. They'll pay, right? Yep. We know that. So that talk is gone. Oh, they don't want to give up control. Well, they brought in a coach that loves control. So that talk is gone. And I think that just there's a mutual respect and understanding that they got to win. They have a all-star of a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, and they can do it now. So let's go ahead and make this jump. And they did everything that was necessary to put this organization back on the right path.
Well, I think it's fun to watch, and I know we got to get you out of here in a second, Shawn. It's fun to see. I think the expectation is bring the Chargers back to relevancy, but not just bring them back to relevancy. Bring them back to glory in the AFC. Win that division first, and make some noise in the playoffs. I guess you don't have to win the division with the extra wild cards now, but you need to. But before we get you out of here, I saw some comments saying AFC Championship next year, Ravens, Chargers, right? I just want you to touch on the AFC Championship games coming to Baltimore here. You got to play in it. was it 2007, 2008 season, correct?
Yeah.
You're right on the doorstep. Can you just touch on two parts, and we'll get you out of here then, what it's like being one step away and feeling like, and I know it was an uphill battle for you guys that year specifically. And then secondly, then maybe your thoughts and prediction between what's going to happen here with the Ravens and the Chiefs.
I think, we talk all the time, the win or go home attitude, right? The win or go home attitude. I think that when you get this close, the mistakes and the wiggle room that you have to make a mistake is so slim, right? A batted ball pass, or just not getting out of bounds fast enough, or not diving for that first down. I mean, you go back, you don't know at that moment, right? And this is why we struggle. We had such a talented team, such a dominant team, but didn't win it. I don't think we understood the importance of the critical moments of games, right? We had guys, penalties and stuff like that. It was just stupid, but those little things turn the game, and that's why the Patriots have won so much, right? They capitalize off your mistake. That's why the Chiefs have found a way to get there so many times, because they just capitalize. They don't make those little mistakes when everything's on the line. And so the biggest thing that all these guys have to understand at this moment, I'm talking about the Ravens in general, is that Lamar Jackson's been getting a lot of slack for the last couple of years because, for one, he hasn't performed well in the playoffs, but also he's been hurt. He hasn't been healthy going into this position. This is the first time we're seeing a fully healthy Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. He's focused and things like that, so he doesn't have to do anything more or less than he would automatically do to go out and win a football game. Don't think that because you're in the AFC Championship game, you got to go be Superman, right? The conversation needs to happen, and this is perfect because John Harbaugh has been there so many times. He's been there now that he can actually talk to them and not keep everybody tight around the facility during the week. Guys, we do this. This is what we do, right? Don't make any boneheaded mistakes. No penalties. No things that's going to set us back, and it becomes that much about winning and losing when you get right here in the AFC Championship game, because you're going to go back and watch that film and like, God damn, if I just put my foot here, and it becomes so stupid. You're like, God, and it lives in your mind. So, and I got the Ravens going, man. I don't think, I think that, their style of football and what the Ravens are playing right now, what they're doing, their style of football, we haven't seen in a very long time. Not just out of the Ravens. I'm talking about in football, period. They're punching people in the mouth for 4 quarters. And they're lining up and not doing anything fancy or crazy or anything. So they're lining up and beating the hell out of people. And we haven't seen this style of play for a very long time. I don't think anybody can match their physicality and what they're bringing to the table. You hear Lamar Jackson's post-game conference now when he's talking about this dude is so focused. Some of the reporters and media try to bait him into talking about Super Bowl and this and that. This dude like, man, I'm trying to line up and play the next play. Like that. That's when you have that level of focus and mentality, it's going to be hard to beat. On the NFC side, I got the Lions, man. I think we got a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl in our hands.
That would be amazing. I know both fan bases would love it. And Detroit, you talk about Dan Campbell. Culture's changed there. Great story. And San Fran is showing that they are not as strong as they were to start the season. I'm right there with you. I think about punching people in the mouth. I think it all starts with a long snapper, right, Nick?
Yeah, of course. We definitely do that.
Damn right. Damn right. Well, hey, Shawn, before we get you on the way out here, then just wanted you to remind your fight is the Lights Out is February 16th, the next event. And just where can we all find it again? It's on Fubo, or I'll let you take it away. Yeah.
February 16th, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 14. You can get all your information at lightsoutexcept.com. And as you said, we'll be live on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. If you don't have Fubo, get it. We air a week later on Bally's and some other platforms. But this is our biggest card yet, man. I think we got some up and coming superstars. I'm happy that they come and take a fight over at Lights Out Extreme Fight before they go to the big stage. So for us, you don't want to miss this card, man. Lights Out Extreme Fighting 14, February 16th.
And if anyone wanted any more reasons, it's going to be on your pages. You're really active on social media, on especially X. So if you're looking, I think you're at Shawn Merriman. If not, just search Shawn's name. You'll find it there. And we will remind people as it gets closer. But Shawn, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on again. Congrats on Jim Harbaugh. You got your guy. congrats on the success already with the fight, and we will talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Shawn.
Thanks, Shawn.
Bye, Sean.
There we go. What a guy.
Oh, look at the
Awesome.
claps.
I was clapping.
no
I was
claps.
clapping.
Oh,
I'm clapping.
listen,
All
Howard-
around. He did. Ryan likes to wait for people to stop
Yeah.
clapping.
It
before
started
he
with
flips the
me, and so
camera.
now my thing is I don't
Yeah.
clap apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't even start because I was, running the show. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Joe,
pretty
this is in the
entrenched
works.
that.
It's in the works, Joe. Don't you worry.
yeah.
Rocco doesn't know it's in the works, but me and him.
Oh, Rocco's clapping. Let's get him back on. He's doing it.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, now,
Look
that
at
would be
that. Look at
electric.
that.
That would be electric if we actually got that set up. That would be a interesting next show. Me and Rocco just both completely beat up, feel horrible, but the content.
I think everyone would prefer that maybe.
I
Except
wonder who the money would be on.
oh,
Would we have to do weigh-ins before so we like do the
Yeah.
face to face?
I mean, my money would be on Zach just because he's got the reach.
Yeah, no, I would definitely.
damn.
Good point.
Although,
All
is
right.
it boxing?
I love how
or
Kevin was just
MMA?
like, yeah, it's solid.
Is it
That's a
just
solid-
straight boxing or MMA? Because I thought I've seen both, or like from when I was watching.
Well,
highlights.
no, are we saying for you that it would be MMA?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Which are we? Because like MMA, I could see Rocco being scrappy, So like if it's boxing, I feel like that helps me more.
He also is swole.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is swole Batman
He does the Stairmaster.
but does
at 8 a.m.
but
before.
does he have the mobility and the agility?
Yeah, how much time do I have to prepare for this? Because I might alter my training to be
We're-
like
we're
more
getting way off
ground.
topic.
You have training in the first place?
No, that's why it would have to be altered.
I
I'd
think
have
you-
to start.
I think the correct phrase is that I would have to start training.
Listen, I love
Yeah, probably better.
Shawn Merriman could come on every fucking show.
I love that.
He's really good.
Yeah,
I was very
awesome. That was awesome.
entrenched in that combo.
When he gets fired up talking about culture,
know, man.
and,
Yeah.
just
So good.
playing football. Him talking about the Baltimore Ravens, you can tell he loves, and he's commented on Twitter a few times about this. He loves the intensity that they play with for 60 minutes because that's how he played football.
Yeah.
He went out there and it's lights out. He went out there trying to, I'm going to impose my will on you for 60 minutes. And he's, commented on Twitter a few times. Every time like Roquan Smith mic'd up and stuff and Roquan screaming stuff, and Shawn will be like, this makes me want to go put the pads on.
I'm surprised that you didn't say anything about how like y'all are boys now on Twitter.
I know I should have. Well, I was so thrown off when Rocco stole my question from me.
Straight from under your nose.
I
too.
know.
I started asking, like, I didn't look at the private chat at first. and
No,
then-
when I say I hit bet, I'm going to say that. And then he finished, and then you asked it, and me and Ryan just looked at each other. I was like, okay. I
saw the camera go to you, and I was like, oh man, what did I just do here? My fault.
Well, but hey, at least it got asked because we were talking to Shawn right before it happened, and then before that big Raiders Chargers debacle for the Chargers. Even though I started the Raiders defense that night, we had this conversation.
We did.
And wow, that helped me greatly. I'm sorry for Chargers fans.
Roll downs. I saw it in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, downs.
that
roll
was
downs.
definitely a beatdown for sure.
Yeah, that was going behind the woodshed. That was tough.
I think
Yeah.
most anticipated game next year is the Harbaugh Bowl.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
make it Thanksgiving.
Well,
again.
and it's in LA, right?
Yeah, it's in LA.
Yeah.
There's that. The other thing I wanted to say is like, I'm really excited to see Chargers Chiefs. And like we talked about the Harbaugh Bowl, but now it's going to be Andy Reid,
No, Jim.
Jim twice a year.
Yeah.
That's going to be
I
something.
think
to watch.
the Chargers, the talent is just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Herbert is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. They have some of the best wide receivers. Austin Eckler's a beast. Defense is really good. They got two of the best D linemen in Bosa and Mack. And
Derwin James.
they're just, and Derwin James is a beast too. And
Mhm.
there's just something missing there. Like when in 2021, they did pretty good. They made the playoffs, but they came here and it was like, we just beat the dog out of them. And it was like, this team was like really good up to that game. And we kind of beat them up pretty good. And we're all just like, what just
Yeah,
happened?
that game ended Herbert's MVP because it was Lamar
Yeah,
and Herbert. That was
yeah.
like the who's gonna? It's
He was
yeah.
a beast.
even in
And
2019.
Since then, I mean, I know they had the fallout against Jacksonville in the playoffs last year. Worst comeback of all time. But this year they were just, I mean, that was just horrible. to
Oh
watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was so many winnable games too.
Yeah.
That it was just like, what is going on?
It's been happening for years.
Yeah. One other thing that I would like to like just highlight from Shawn Merriman's interview too was just like him talking about the physicality And like we've talked about this, Ryan, and I know Zach is, and we might have touched on it with you too, Kevin and Rock. But like when we talked about the Dolphins coming into town, when we talked about the Cowboys, we talked about some of these teams that had played had a pretty soft schedule. We all noticed that there was no physicality on those teams, right? The Cowboys go to the Bills, get their asses kicked because they played less physical football, and Dolphins come into Baltimore, got their asses kicked, just like Shawn was saying. So I just love that he said that because that's something that we've been observing all year long.
What did PQ call it? Basketball on grass?
Yeah.
Teams come in here and try to play basketball on grass, but at the end of the day, they're going to hit you.
Yeah, very true. I mean, that was a direct for Miami, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was going into either going into or coming from Miami.
Yeah. It was after it was the 49ers game. It was after the 49ers.
It was after going into,
and then it was coming to Baltimore. But I think the point is though that culture is a real thing wherever it is. And if you look at the Detroit Lions right now, and he mentioned Dan Campbell, and you
also play physical football.
Oh, they play physical, but also they just believe. Even if they mess up, they fuck up. And they lost, like the 2-point conversion. He was pissed. They were mad at the game against Dallas and all that whole situation. It was, we're moving on. It's already over.
Yep.
And and every single person, no one questioned it at all. They go, we trust our head coach. We are going to go out there and hit you in the mouth the next game, and one game at a time. And here they are, one game away from going to the Super Bowl.
Festivus Maximus.
I think he just threw everybody off.
That was what it was. Festivus was what they referred to it as in the 2000 years?
2000. Yeah.
I was just tossing out some old Ravens history facts out there, just
at random.
Yeah, we said go into the Super Bowl. I said Festivus Maximus.
You're right. You are right. You are right.
Thank
you. From before you were born. From before you were born, right?
I was 1 year old. This was brought up on Twitter yesterday.
Oh my
I was
God.
1 year old.
1 year.
1 year.
No,
2000. 2000. It's cut.
That actually pisses me off.
I know.
Is that you
by a month? I missed 1999 because my birthday is February 7, 2000. So I literally by what would that be? 37 days miss. I was 38 days into
31 in January. Yeah.
All right, we're done. We're done with you guys. I'm done with the fact that you don't even. You barely
2000.
Yeah.
I'm 26 tomorrow.
Kevin.
Not quite, but yes, almost.
Very
26.
soon birthday.
We're gonna have to stay on stream until midnight.
Yeah,
now.
I guess.
Okay.
Oh man.
Hey, who wants to steal another phone? Why not? Why not?
Late birthday gift. You gotta do your birthday shopping.
It's a scavenger hunt. We're gonna steal Kevin's phone
and gift it to me.
Yeah,
no, we're gonna make him go to that shady ass pawn shop.
Zach, call your guy back
on the block.
You're never gonna guess. We got another opportunity. They don't suspect a thing.
Good times. All right. Well, if you're new to the channel, we just had Shawn Merriman on, former Charger, former All-Pro, former, lights out. If you actually Google his name and you put it in Pro Football Reference on the NFL, it says Shawn Merriman and then in parentheses, lights out. And the guy was lights out, especially when he was healthy. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're one of our regular occurring listeners, thank you for being here. And I heard that water bottle again.
Jesus
Rocco.
Christ,
I don't know if anyone was going to say anything about it.
Could have just moved, could have muted yourself, could have done nothing. Just fucking chugging water.
It's the branding. It's the rip and
just
rock.
as bad as Nick was on his
was that a phone ding and a water bottle in the span of 30 seconds?
The little ball in mine.
I remember
My shaker bottle. I took it out today. There's no shaker bottle in this, or no shaker in this bottle.
Well, thank goodness. Because the show would have been delayed even more.
Nick lifts. We get it.
I mean, I don't have much of a choice. That's all I can do this year. Pump iron, baby.
Confirm.
Hey, clip that.
Clip
Confirm Nick Moore.
That's a soundbite.
No, I did like day to day, and I wish I'd skipped.
No, that's what you play the pump iron clip, and then you segue right into our Oklahoma drill, and he just.
Oh my god!
I'm almost ready to Oklahoma drill. Okay, I'm going to start running on the ground next week. So
there
time,
we go. I
Have
can't
you been
wait.
running on non-ground recently, like the in the
Anti-gravity treadmill in a pool.
pools? Do those
yeah.
feel weird? The anti-gravity treadmill.
The treadmill is only weird just because it's a condensed space. I got wide hips, so
Yes, you do.
it's my hip box is not built to doesn't go straight down. It's a little bit wider.
Is that like a thing in long snappers? Like, is there?
No,
like,
I just
you
big-
do like have long snapper hips? Is that like?
No,
a
I'm
thing?
just big boned.
Oh. I was wondering if
I
there
can't
was
do
a
the-
build. Like,
I can't. I was doing the pool, but I'm allergic to. I'm allergic to the chemicals that they put
Like
for.
the chlorine.
Yeah, so they put like high dose of chlorine, so they don't have to clean it as often, and
Yeah.
they put some other
yeah.
chemicals in there that doesn't agree with my body. And I did it for the first couple of weeks when I was first learning to walk again, because the treadmill was too hard for me to get in and like do it when I couldn't actually walk. But the treadmill has been good, and I'll be on the ground next week.
Have you done the
hell yeah.
hyperbaric chamber, Nick?
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, yes, I haven't done
Have it
it
again.
Yeah, I haven't done it since I've been injured, but I have done it in my lifetime.
What's it
so
like?
you
in
don't?
there?
Yeah. What is it like?
I mean,
Play by play. What is it like in the hyperbaric?
You step in, set the scene.
What the fuck are we doing?
Have
I know.
you
Like,
ever-
what are
have-
we?
What
this
are we
is terrible.
talking-
These are terrible questions.
Mark
Well, I'm
Andrews
just-
usually-
What is it
Yeah.
like? Give me the step by step when
Yeah.
you walk
Mark
into a
Andrews is in
hyperbaric
this.
chamber.
Yeah,
and it's
like what's
cold.
it
You gotta
feel
know
like?
how it
Like, what is the
feels,
point
what
of
it's
it?
like.
See, these are
it's good.
these are
That's
comments. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for getting us back on track. That's
Thank
what we need. We got to get some.
I'll get a jersey.
Yeah.
Not just.
If we just keep
Oh,
winning
that's a good
games. The
idea.
season's not over yet. When
Yeah,
the season's
there-
over,
there
they
you
give me
go.
jerseys.
Oh, he's
Is-
giving us the
is it gonna
Super
cost
Bowl
you?
patch.
actually.
Yeah.
Had
What'd you say?
some ideas of like guests that come in. We'll have them like sign a wall somewhere. Maybe we got a
Yeah.
badass mural over there.
Well, that's what the Ravens do now with signings. right?
Jerseys.
You sign the
Yeah,
wall.
Nick, is it
you
gonna
sign the wall.
cost you?
Yeah, that'd
Would
be
it
cool.
cost you to give us a jersey like $300, like with the jersey swaps, or no?
No, they at the end of the season, the Ravens give us every jersey that we wear for the year.
Amazing. So
Damn.
you-
I didn't wear any jerseys, so hopefully I still get mine. But we'll find out. We will find out. Hey, stay tuned. I will keep you informed.
Well,
Alright.
and you know what? I think the Ravens will let it happen because obviously the Ryan Ripken Show. We're gonna actually might put it right next to our Adams Jeep sign. It's a great
Hey,
time. to
yeah,
even
great time for
Mention
Adams
our
Jeep.
sponsor.
I'm
Hey,
getting
Ride
better
the
at
Jeep.
this.
ride the Jeep,
Ride it,
baby. That's it.
Get in
there
that
it is.
I don't like doing this. I look like everybody looks like they're milking cows when they do that.
Well, no.
Yeah, you got to go like
gotta- you
this.
gotta-
You
Now,
can't go
now I'm
like
never
this.
gonna unsee that.
Nobody
Yeah,
drives
see, now
like
you're-
Kevin, what the hell are you
Wait,
driving?
wrist
Wait.
flicking.
Yeah.
No, you just drive it like this.
Yeah,
Nick-
Nick,
all right,
Nick's driving a big rig. And that's how you. That's
You drive
There
a
we
big
go.
rig
I'm
with
so
one hand.
sorry for anyone that tuned into this channel while this was happening. Adams Jeep of Maryland.
On to the
That's our
next.
sponsor. Goodness gracious. If
Thank
you're
you,
new to
Adams
the
Jeep.
channel, please stay. I'm so sorry. This is the Ryan Ripken Show.
This show sucks.
We have Nick Moore, Ravens long snapper.
How's it going?
We have Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oster Striker, Ostriker. We got Brad, who's our producer behind everything, but he's really just our do-it-all guy that lost his phone today. And then Zach, who is
Yeah.
unprofessional, professional content
Yeah, I'm
creator.
getting canceled by Swifties right now, but
We're going to talk about that later. We're so off topic, but if you're new to the
What
channel,
about-
hit that like
what
and
about me?
subscribe button.
What about
And that's
me?
Rocco.
Rocco's here.
Rocco
Oh,
DeSangro.
yeah, Rocco. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Driving
a
the Jeep.
sports anchor reporter. Thank you.
Okay, let's
You know the guy that's roasting you too is the Adams Jeep guys, and they love
Yeah, I
it,
know,
and
I
they
know.
rightfully should. So
Chuck was
anyway, guys,
forward.
let's get back on track here because it's a big week here in Baltimore. A huge week here in Baltimore. First AFC Championship game ever coming to Baltimore on Sunday, 3 p.m. We will see you there. I wish the lots were open. I would make my way there now. Like that's how much energy I have for this game. But before we talk about the magnitude, I guess, of this game, right? Like, and it's a huge game. You can sense it. There was a conversation recently, guys, that Lamar Jackson, obviously, we know what he means to the team, right? We know where he wants to go and what he's meant to kind of the flipping the page in the organization's history in Baltimore, right? Like it was the defenses that ran this town. It was the legends of Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and whatnot. But how about this? Cam Newton was on a show and he was talking to someone from Baltimore. And Baltimore. And apparently there's a interesting debate between who has more influence, Lamar Jackson or Ray Lewis in the city of Baltimore. So let's play that for you real quick.
Touchdown, Lamar!
Listen, I was having a conversation by a native of Baltimore. He was like, Lamar Jackson means more to the city than Ray Lewis.
And that's a bold statement.
Oh, Lamar Jackson is that guy. But damn, when you think about this, just shows your age. It's like, damn, over Ray?
Are you agreeing with it?
I have to. Motherfucking, there's not a more dynamic player in all of football than Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes, dynamic in his own right.
Correct.
A different dynamic, but electric. Virginia Tech, Michael Vick, electric. That shit, that's Lamar Jackson.
And he's becoming more vocal too. Like he didn't speak on it, so people just had their own perception of him.
This is like the societal kind of crossroad. We're not used to seeing the position played to look, feel, act, stand on, culturally play like Lamar. They will want you to be on commercials. You can't name me a commercial that Lamar Jackson's on. You can't even probably name me an endorsement that Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson is the epitome of keeping the main thing the main thing.
All right, so he's right about that. Keeping the main thing the main thing. And no one's locked in, or as we coined it here, fired in than Lamar Jackson here. But
Fired in.
The combination of fired up and locked in. But guys, it's when you hear it at first, you go, damn, whoa, Ray Lewis, you kidding me? Because Ray has won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He was really
Super Bowl MVP.
Super Bowl MVP. And also he has been, his legend of Baltimore is the largest for the Ravens organization. I'm not going to insult Johnny Unitas and everyone for the history here in the city of Baltimore, but for the Baltimore Ravens, the dance before the games, the impact on the defense, the speeches, the persona, and not that Lamar Jackson isn't that the persona, they lead differently, right? But Lamar Jackson is, like Cam Newton said, Zach, he is the most electrifying player in the sport. And honestly, since Vic, we hadn't seen anyone like him, but we might never see a guy like Lamar Jackson ever again.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. He is probably the most dynamic quarterback we've ever seen. It's truly electrifying. He's a different type of playmaker, and he's just special in his own way. But you got to get a Super Bowl before you can say he's means more to the city than Ray. And because Ray, you know, the Colts left, and then football came back, and within 4 years, boom, the Ravens were Super Bowl champions. And it really was that they brought it back. They brought football back to Baltimore. And Ray Lewis was that leader, and then he goes out and wins a championship on his way out. And so all of that taken into consideration right now, no, it's still Ray. I think Ray is still the peak of it all. Does Lamar Jackson have the opportunity in the next year or two? He wins a Super Bowl now. He goes out, keeps playing like this. Without a doubt, I think eventually Lamar ends up being the guy here and who you put number one. But right now, I will say the 2 Super Bowls that Ray has give him the edge.
I think there's something that Cam Newton said. He talked about, like, is this an age thing? I don't know who he's talking about. Like, as far as in today, I would say Lamar Jackson is more influential than like a Ray Lewis, because Ray's been out of the game for over a decade.
Yeah.
But overall, like, if you lived through, like, I was, you know, I don't know, 10 or so when the Ravens came back to Baltimore. You know, I was 14 when they won their first Super Bowl. So, like, I just remember what it was like then, and it was bananas. And like you said, the squirrel dance, like, people still ask him to do that, and like it was just. And Ryan's not going to want to hear this, but every time Cal Ripken walks around this area, people stop, right?
No.
And so, yes. And so I think it is, and you could just mute yourself, Ryan. I think it is very similar to and I think it will be very similar to a Brooks Robinson versus Cal Ripken type of thing, like where like they're the same, like they're just as influential. We care about them just as much and we look up to them just as much as athletes. And what they did for the city, as I don't think it's going to be one over the other.
And I think also it's 2 different types of things, where Ray was like, he helped create the culture that Baltimore's today. He was, you know, him and Jonathan Ogden come in as these 2 first-round picks, and they're the 2 Hall of Famers. And Ray Lewis was a huge part of just creating the culture that we still think of today, when we think of the Ravens and how, they're defensive oriented. But then you have Lamar, who almost like brought this dynamic style. In fact, he did. He brought this dynamic and this offense to Baltimore, where it's no longer like, where do you think about, with the Ravens, it was defense for the most part. But now it's Lamar, and it's, you think of the dynamic ability and all the big plays and the cool things that happen. So I get that maybe it's just like a generational thing, where right now in the moment, we see what Lamar's doing for the Ravens. We see how impactful he is, not only on the field, but he's embraced the city. He's done great things in the community, both here, Louisville, Florida, and you kind of see that. But Ray has such a big legacy too, where you can put these guys side by side. And I think either one, regardless of if you're on the Ray side or the Lamar side, you can't deny the impacts they've had. It's just a little bit different and, obviously a little bit dated depending on if you watch Ray play or not.
Yeah. And you know what, Nick, because I want to ask you this next question. And I see a couple of people here, by the way. Thank you, Jason. You made the show. And Kevin is here too, by the way. He's there. He's sitting there. He's
what a legend.
He's comfortable.
Locked on.
I am. I'm sinking in this couch right now.
Raven,
too comfy.
Raven and Locked on Raven. And quickly, if you're new to the channel here, and Jason just wanted to bring that up, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. We're talking right now about the situation. If you missed it, Cam Newton was saying, there was a question brought up, is Lamar Jackson mean more to the city of Baltimore? But whether it means more to the city of Baltimore or not, I mean, Nick, you can see what Lamar Jackson means to the Ravens. You're in the locker room with them. You've seen him. You've seen the impact. You've seen the evolution of Lamar. I mean, I agree. It's going to take time. I think he's got to hopefully win this Sunday, go on and win a Super Bowl, right? But make no mistake, Lamar Jackson's impact is felt in so many different ways, and you can feel it inside the castle there in Baltimore.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think what Lamar is to our team is probably equivalent to what Ray was to the team back then. I think it's slightly recency bias just because Lamar is playing and Ray hasn't played in over a decade, like we said. For me, I think being in the organization, Ray Lewis set the standard for kind of what Kevin said, that he is the culture. Like, he brought that culture of smash mouth football, and we play defense, and this is what we do. And I think that's how it's always been. Then Lamar came in, and he was, like you said, he was a totally new player, brings in an offensive perspective. Like, he's our guy. He's explosive. He's our playmaker. We're going to use him to kind of the catalyst to get us going. I think this year we're seeing a perfect blend of that same defensive mentality with Lamar playing a full season, being healthy, being dynamic, being explosive, making plays like that. All that's coming together. And I think Lamar is the catalyst for it now, and he's helping propel us to potentially, we're playing the AFC Championship, potentially going to the Super Bowl. And I think Lamar is the best, obviously the best leader on our team, the best player on our team, the most valuable, impactful person on our team, on and off the field. And I think he's showing that this season.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the fact of the offense and defense. And actually, this is the first year people are saying, like, this defense and Roquan Smith is embodying Ray Lewis. But this is that one of those hard-hitting, tough, ferocious defenses. That's what Baltimore used to be. And then on top of it now, you have the most dynamic player in the NFL, in Lamar Jackson, who is running your offense. And that is a way different look than it was in 2019, right, Kevin?
And it's true. And this is such a bad example, but I'm going to use it anyway. And kind of to what Nick and I were saying about Lamar bringing offense. Let's look at fantasy football for a second. Such a weird kind of turn here. But who on the Ravens, offensively, were you just dying to get? And who did you think of on offense when you thought of the Ravens? I mean, they had guys like Steve Smith Sr., and you can go back and back and back. But now with the Ravens and Lamar, he's brought in that offensive perspective. And he's been a guy that has improved every single season. He's embraced the community every single year, and he's done a great job. So I don't think you can go wrong when you talk about Lamar versus Ray, but I do think it is generational. Where did you watch Lamar play or not? Did you watch Ray Lewis play or not? Either way, you might have a bias based off of, who you watched prior.
And I think there are Lamar Jackson fans first. And, when I say that, I'm talking about, I know Louisville fans love Lamar. So right now, all of Louisville, I see people all the time from Louisville that comment on Ravens stuff, and they're like, hey, I'm a Louisville fan, but, watch every Lamar Jackson game. So he has so many more fans than just in Baltimore. Like, he is really starting to transcend into that level of, so many people look up to what he's doing, love what he's doing. And so it isn't really just, is he just a Baltimore guy? I think he gets up there with Ray Lewis eventually, but I think he's a guy who can, across the entire country, people really, and across the league, really start to look up to and love to watch play. And he's kind of transcended into a league-wide superstar in that aspect, rather than just, oh, he's Baltimore's guy.
Yeah, and that's I just wanted to bring this up because I had it up there for the longest time, and I apologize, Zach, it was underneath you, but I thought it was an interesting point. Ray was larger than life, brings the spotlight to Baltimore, which he did, and Ray felt like a folk tale, like a folk character. It's like this guy legends ago, or ages ago, the legend of Ray Lewis. Lamar Jackson, it just feels like Lamar's one of the guys. He is one of the inside of the communities, and I think that's something that is good to point out. So thank you for asking that, or it's not asking, for making that point. Regardless, both mean a ton to the city, right? Ray, the past and the present with it, but Lamar, the present and the future for hopefully what he can do this Sunday and moving forward. But how about this? So there's some people that are living in the past here, or at least thinking that this Ravens team from 2019 is the same that it is right now. And I don't blame it, but I think it's a little outdated. And what I'm bringing up here is Taylor Lewan, former Titans offensive lineman, was up with Kay Adams talking about that there is a blueprint to stop Lamar Jackson, but he was talking about a moment that happened almost 5 years ago. So let's play the clip for a second.
An incredible team, but there is a formula to beat Lamar, unfortunately, and it's making him go east to west and make him throw the football. With Pat, it's kind of like you plaster guys and keep dudes in coverage and hope to God you get to him with 3 or 4. And so it's very difficult playing Pat. And with, if you have the right athletes for Kansas City, which they could, you could neutralize Lamar Jackson a little bit more with that running capability.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna take this one. I'm actually surprised that Taylor took this angle. Co-host of Bustin' with the Boys, they know ball. And I'm just surprised that he took this approach. Everybody has tried to say this, especially this year, just make Lamar throw the ball, just make Lamar throw the ball. We've seen that Lamar knows how to throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out there throwing darts. I was just very surprised by that. And if you force him to throw the ball, they can still beat you. And we got the weapons as well. Mark Andrews is going to be back this week. So that take was like maybe 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
At that point. So that made no sense to me at all. That take is just garbage.
Yeah. It kind of, like you said, it was a little disappointing because those guys, I love listening to them because they do know ball. They have such great insights from inside how the organizations work, how different things are supposed to go. And if Taylor Lewan would have come out there and said, there's a script, there's a blueprint to beat Lamar Jackson, and he started to, get him to go east and west. And if he would have rattled off 5 or 6 things, giving examples, I wouldn't agree with him still, but it's okay. You have your opinion from what you're saying. For him to go, well, look what we did in 2019. When Lamar Jackson, it was his second year, he was 22 years old. That's where it's like, come on. Like if you want to say you think there's a way to beat him, and then you give valid points that have happened, one in the current year, we're talking about beating Lamar Jackson. That's one thing. I just felt it was a little tired to be like, yeah, no, I mean, look what we did in 2019, because that's a completely different Lamar Jackson. He's evolved so much as an all-around player since then.
Yeah.
I just feel like I felt like we moved past those narratives almost. Like I felt like, sure, Lamar's not a perfect player, but if you want to criticize him, at least go based off of who he is today. And why do we have to go back to a version of Lamar that, again, that was his first full season starting?
Why?
Yes.
It's because Taylor Lewan was on the Titans and they all got chips on their shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, and because Marcus Peters danced on his logo. That's why. Like that's exactly why he said it.
They danced on ours first.
Yep. Thank you.
That is true.
Right.
That is true.
Oh, you were there to dance on the logo. Did you dance on the logo?
I was in the box. I was there, but no, I did not. I was in the box.
He did not participate.
I was on practice squad that year. So.
Oh,
Practice squad, stand up.
That's me. I'm not getting up.
No.
Way to
Don't
make
act.
the guy with
bum
the
leg.
hurt. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, don't
rehab.
don't actually get up, but that could be a part of the rehab too. But Kevin, continue your point.
Yeah, and so it's again going back, and why do we have to say these things about Lamar and say that was his first full year starting? He led the team to a 14-2 record that year, and that was a younger team. So why do we have to go back to that version of Lamar? Why don't we go back to a younger version of Mahomes? Why don't we go back to a younger version of Allen? And those weaknesses that are 3 or 4 years old, they only seem to be talked about with Lamar. And we've seen Lamar in moments, right? He's somebody who elevates other guys. And I'm not saying Mahomes doesn't do any of this stuff. Both of them are great quarterbacks. When you put out a blueprint for somebody, saying that a blueprint of 3 or 4 years ago was still good today, when we have seen Lamar grow as a player, the decision-making, everything from him has been so good this season. And for me, Mahomes is a great player. If you want to talk about accolades, Mahomes has the 2 Super Bowls, right? That's what Lamar's trying to get to. But if you talk about who's the best quarterback playing in the NFL right now, who is playing the best, it's Lamar Jackson. And there's not a guy I'd take over him right now based off how he's playing right now, not how he played 4 years ago, not how he played in one singular playoff game. It's about where we are in the moment. We talked about it with Lamar versus Ray Lewis. It's in the moment. Where are we in the moment? And right now we're talking about a player that all those narratives back in 2019, not a lot of them exist anymore. And the Ravens actually, against Houston on Saturday, dispelled even more of them because they ended up throwing a lot of them to the curb based off of what they did.
Yeah, Nick, I'm just curious here. And we talked a little bit about it with you, but now we're here. It's the AFC Championship game. It's well documented. You can feel in the locker room that this is what people are holding on to for a while. Like people can say they can keep out the noise, but you guys are well aware of what people are saying, the doubt that people have had on this Baltimore Ravens team, and even Lamar Jackson for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2024. It's kind of hard not to be aware of that kind of stuff, just because the accessibility of the news and all that stuff with Twitter and everything. But I said it in a podcast before, but somebody's got to be the villain. You know, Patrick Mahomes is the guy with the media. Everybody loves him. You know, the Chiefs, everyone loves them. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. That's the thing. That's fine. That's not what we are here. We're not that way. We're fine being the villain.
Stavros.
Yeah, we're blue collar guys, man. We work hard. We're just gonna let our play do the talking, like Roquan says. We don't need all that other stuff. That stuff's irrelevant. They can say all they want, but you got to play the game on Sunday at 3:00, and by 6:00, we'll answer all their questions. I love that.
And yeah, honestly,
Boom.
They got me fired up.
Mic drop right there.
Are we gonna have?
I'm about to do some more push-ups after that.
Wait, did you even do push-ups?
No, guys, I was.
Hey,
there was a lot of chaos going on before the show.
We know there's chaos, but before we get into more chaos, Rock, I know you're sitting down here and you've been obviously with the team and seeing all this develop here, and you've been in the locker room of guys talking about it. And yes, I agree with Nick. You're exactly right, Nick, that this team wants to go to work, but Rocco, you have that sense. And even after it was a great feeling last week, right? Everyone's excited. They're happy. You could just sense there was not a satisfied team. This was a team that is looking to do more.
Yeah, and they've even said that in their press conferences this week. And Nick, this is where I want to bring you back in and ask you this question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were on the team the last time these two teams, the Ravens and Chiefs, faced off. The last regular season meeting, correct?
Yes, I was 2021.
So that game was like, I mean, it went viral because it was the Lamar, you want to go for it? Yeah, coach, I want to go for it. And Lamar goes for it. And they get the first down. They ice the game. They beat the Chiefs for the first time since Lamar Jackson's been in the league. And Patrick Mahomes, he does have a 3-1 career record in the regular season against Lamar, but this is the playoffs. It's a different stage. And I agree with Kevin. Lamar Jackson has played some fantastic football this season. Nick, what I want to ask you is, from that moment, the confidence level in Lamar Jackson, I mean, I thought that was so cool to see as someone, you know, from the outside looking in. For you, what did that moment mean to this franchise, this team, finally beating the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? And how much have you seen your starting quarterback grow since that moment there on the field and what he says in the locker room as well?
Yeah, Lamar's definitely a totally different player now than he was. I think that's the kind of guy Lamar is. He wants the ball in his hands at the end of the game. He wants to be the one responsible for that, and we love it. Like when you're a guy like me, I'm long snapper. I don't do a whole lot. You only play like 8 plays a game. when it's like punt or we're going out for punt to ice the game, or they're going to go for it. And you got your quarterback like, no, we're fucking taking, give me the ball. Yeah. We're going to get this first down. We're going to fucking win this game. I love that. That's exactly what I want to see. And I feel like that's contagious. And I think John is kind of a symbol of that as well. And the sense that we're not going to leave it up to them. We're better than them, and we're going to do it right now. That was a huge monkey off our backs, beating them first time since Lamar's been in the league. But like I said, Lamar now is a totally different player than he was then. He's matured a lot. He's grown a lot. He's expanded his capabilities as a quarterback. He's throwing the ball a lot better. He's standing in the pocket more. He's making better decisions. And he still has that same fire. He still wants the ball when the game's on the line. Yeah. And I think this Sunday we're gonna see that full force and taking over.
And we all hope that's the case. And I think you're right. I think that's what people love is you can love or hate what happens in the results, but the fire that this team has and the fire that Lamar Jackson has and that the belief when we had Mark Clayton on was that on Monday already?
Yeah, Monday.
We had Mark on Monday, and he was talking about the evolution of John Harbaugh as a coach too, from the style and then going through all these moments. Then the team evolves. Lamar becomes the head coach here, or no, not sorry. Lamar becomes the quarterback that you change your whole offense around, and that's a big decision for a head coach to make. And you do it, and then this team believes in everything, and then you bring in another guy. It's really like an element of the past Ravens to what the future Ravens are going to be.
I think this puts it extremely well. Harbs, if they win, will have one with two totally different styles of play. And I think that is extremely impressive. And that's one of those things where this team is, besides, same aspect in they like to play hard-nosed defense. That's going to always be Baltimore's thing. But these are very different. This is a very different team than 2012, and I think that is a testament to how Harbaugh has taken this adaptation to, okay, how are we going to best suit, not necessarily here's how I coach, here's the play style I run. Let's get the players to do, let's get the players that can do this. He gets his best players, I feel like, and he's like, okay, how can I put them in the best situation and spot to succeed? And that's why you see him have so much success over such a long period of time, running so many different styles of football throughout the year.
Yeah, I was actually doing, some research for Sunday show, for our pregame show. Honestly, I'm starting to believe that there's no reason why the Ravens can't blow out the Chiefs on Sunday. Just based off of what we're like, Ravens have scored over a full touchdown more average per game than the Chiefs have. We saw the yard numbers. We saw how the Chiefs got their asses kicked by the Raiders this year. Like, I just feel as if there is look, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's the playoffs. We know it's a whole different ball game, but there is it just wouldn't shock me if there was a blowout by the Ravens this weekend. It really wouldn't.
I mean, I think everyone in Baltimore would love that. I think it's hard to really not necessarily I guess it's you're right, Brad. The Ravens so far, when they've played teams besides the Steelers, these are the only teams. Can you believe it's the only two losses they had? One, they didn't have Lamar, and the rest of the
they had third string players in there, right?
But they were resting a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And then the other game was at Pittsburgh. So the two losses to teams with a winning record this year for the Baltimore Ravens, Kevin, if I'm not correct, was to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
I think so, yeah.
You're right.
They won seven games?
Yeah, we lost to Indy and
I'm sorry. So playoff
teams was Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Cleveland.
Well, I guess Cleveland, they lost to Cleveland.
Yeah, we lost.
Never mind. So I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Get your facts right before you say.
No, but let's say this: in the games the two games that they lost where they were at full strength, the Steelers game, like I'm saying, your guys are out there for the whole game.
Yeah,
it was.
Look, the two teams that are in the NFC Championship game, the Ravens kicked their asses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Super Bowl, if you're the Ravens, you play Brock Purdy or Jared Goff, two quarterbacks who you've beaten down.
You're feeling good. Feeling good. Ravens make the Super Bowl. You're feeling really good as a fan. Or as a player.
So I guess what I was saying
I'm gonna throw up. I'm so nervous. Over here, we're feeling. I
was actually more nervous last weekend because because Houston was such a hot team.
Yeah.
And not that the Chiefs haven't gotten hot at the right time, but like it's just the way that I saw the Bills and Chiefs game last weekend, both defenses were not great. And And now is Thuney
he has yet to participate, and
if he doesn't go,
him not playing.
Not only that,
if he doesn't play or he does play, he's not going to be 100%.
Hold on, Rock, what you got there?
Pacheco didn't practice today either.
Hold on, shit.
Yeah, and
Thuney didn't practice. Thuney's not expected to play. Pacheco didn't practice, and I think that's.
I don't believe Trey Smith has practiced or did not practice today.
Their other guard. He came back, I believe. He didn't. Sorry, I can't even speak right now. Mine's in 7 different places. He didn't practice yesterday due to an illness. He was back at practice today, I believe.
All right. Yeah, I did see he was out at least yesterday. I wasn't sure what, because when he popped up, I was like, what?
Yeah, so just another thing, like, you take all the stats from the regular season and just the performances of both teams. Obviously, Baltimore's better, but then also they're the most healthy. And I think there's just a lot. It's a huge uphill battle for the Chiefs to actually win this game this weekend. Yeah. I think the Ravens are going to. The only team that's going to beat the Ravens this weekend is the Ravens.
Yep.
But
they come down to disciplined football.
Yeah, but to be fair, at least for the Chiefs, they've been the cream of the crop. They've been the 6 straight AFC Championship games. Patrick Mahomes, I didn't realize this if you actually think about it. The only quarterbacks that have beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs so far is Tom Brady and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So Patrick Mahomes rises to the occasion. We know what he can do, but we do believe in this defense, and especially when you got guys like this.
Is that smelling salts?
Oh, yeah, we're doing it again. This has me so fired up for when we do this.
That was smooth. That was the smoothest transition from smelling salts to putting your helmet on and running out onto the field that I've ever seen in my life. It was just like poetry in motion right there.
That's all you can do after you hit smelling salts is run as fast as you can.
You have
to take off because that
Nick, we've seen Urban do him on the sidelines, and he looks like he's going to puke. He's like,
different animal.
And for those that are wondering here on the Ryan Ripken Show, when we got over our 4,000 subscribers, which thank you all to you, by the way, we were going to get the smelling salts, and our Locked On Ravens guy, Kevin Ostreicher, was going to saddle up with our Ravens guy, Nick Moore. Smelling salts, Oklahoma drill in the studio. Who says no? We don't. Everyone, it's going to happen here.
I'm excited.
Am I fully padded up for
one
this?
chip challenge coming at 5K, right?
Yeah, me and Rock. Me and Rock at 5K are also.
We have incentives.
One chip challenge.
But we got to figure out when we're going to do the smelling salts on a show where everyone's in studio, and then the one chip challenge. I do not want to be at work. And
we won't do it while you're at work.
Having to die afterwards. I want to do.
No, Rocco. Let's go right on to the news. And this.
Well, Rocco wants me and him to do the one chip challenge before the we do it to start.
I agree. I think how funny would it be if they do it and then Ryan goes, "All right, Rocco, what do you think?" He's just like,
"Oh no, we're doing it before the show." That's a great
idea. How about this?
Fantastic idea.
Smelling salts into the one chip challenge.
That's a horrible idea.
What idea is that?
Beautiful. I think we hit the smelling salts and then me and Zach do the one chip challenge. It's like we get hyped up for it. We take the one chip. We're done. Two birds, one stone.
You could add more incentive to it, and Zach and Rocco do rock, paper, scissors to who does the one chip challenge.
These are terrible.
No, we both need to do it. This is a team.
Okay, enough of you guys, by the way, because I want to point out a couple of people here, by the way, and I appreciate this. This is what we're trying to do. Carla, new subby, thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Welcome.
There we go.
Make sure he's going to catch Brad.
He did it.
He caught Brad.
I did. But Carla, thank you, and you're a new sub. We appreciate it. Completely believe in the Ravens. They have been focused and determined all season. Let's go Ravens and just win. That's at the end of the day. Just win. It doesn't matter if they win by a 10, win by 1, win by 30. The Ravens win. Everyone in Baltimore is going to be happy. And there was another one. We got another one, guys. What's up, Ryan? Like your show? Well, we like it too sometimes.
Yeah,
we like it too sometimes.
He caught Brad again.
Well, who's not clapping? Rocco. There he is. There you go.
Muted clap.
There he is. But I did see that if we get to 6K, maybe we do some wing sauce. We'll approach 6K as we get there. And that reminds me, if you're new to the channel here, I
love that sauce.
It's a great sauce. But let me finish what I'm trying to say here. If you guys are new to the channel, like the people, I know it's hard. This is what we deal with on a daily basis. Guys talking over each other, aka Kevin, Zach, and Rocco.
I don't talk over people.
Oh, come on.
Well,
okay, maybe a little bit.
When you
We
never
just
I
bring
think
each
me
other's
in,
our own
questions.
version of Hot Ones would be kind of cool, though.
I would
Yeah, it
consider
would be.
that.
All
I
right.
would just love to go
Rip,
on Hot
Rip
Ones.
never brings me in, so I have to talk over people because I'm always on a delay. What do you want me to do?
That's
my
so
God.
fast.
Well, you know how you could just be in studio.
That just sounds like excuses, honestly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, why don't you go get your phone stolen again there, Chief?
Ooh, and so for those
Ooh.
that are tuning into the show here, the reason why we're on a little bit of a delay.
It's so stupid.
I mean, I'm not the one who got my phone stolen, you idiot.
Who cares if I get
Hey, locked on.
Hey,
Locked On
congrats,
Ravens,
Kevin.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job,
Joe.
Kev.
So, because we're all over the place here, but again, for those that are new to the show, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. We try to do this every Monday and Thursday. We have some antics. We try to keep it fun. We are a group of individuals that can get carried away. We have some that have Rocco. We know he has his own ADHD, right? You have your moments, yes.
Yeah, he
Diagnose
does.
me. with
Goodbye.
Things.
Jason has a point. What he just said. Jason, I understand what you're saying. He said, what did he say? Just I said I don't talk over people, and I just talked over you. So
Yeah.
Jason, you see what I deal with?
Appreciate you, Steven.
Steven! There we go.
We're just gonna do this for the next hour, guys.
I'm gonna
be
be
solo
subscribing.
show.
You know what?
I
If we get that many subs, yeah, Rock, I'm gonna keep talking.
We will
Come on.
keep going.
Listen,
That is hilarious.
did you guys know that Steven's my legal first name?
no.
I do because I have to sign in every time I go to
Yeah, I
see
got
you
an
at
email
work.
from Steven.
So yeah, you did.
Yeah, I
Steven
got an email. I was like,
Santiago.
who is this guy, dude?
Rocco's not a
Steven
TV name though. It's
Santiago.
my
So
legal
what-
middle name. I don't do one of those things.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, at least the chaos is appreciated.
There
Own
you
the
go.
chaos.
thanks.
Hey.
I can't read that far away.
All right, guys, before we I think we're getting a little bit all over the place, so maybe we should wrap up here in a second, but let's just touch real quickly. And we've talked about some great moments. I think why don't we go around and just talk about what's been something so far this year that you've really enjoyed, whether it's a player, a performance, something that has been really kind of inspiring. I know, like Brad, you had something about like Michael Pierce and you can talk about that or not, but it could be a moment. Who would like to start? Would anyone like to start here?
I can just I don't necessarily have a specific player, but I'm going to say, and I guess might be a cop out, the unexpected heroes who have stepped up, like the Brandon Stevens.
Cop out.
Yep. I'll give a name then. I think Brandon Stevens has been my favorite just guy this year. You went from a running back at UCLA, I think at this point it's 4 or 5 years ago, to now he is one of the best players on the league's best defense. And just every time you see his confidence grow, and I love everything that he's kind of grown into and like becoming a leader for the team.
I agree with you. I think honestly, when you look at it so far this season, especially with Marlon Humphrey being out and everyone was wondering about, well, wait a minute, the secondary. And it felt like over the years, hasn't the secondary been the position that's been decimated the most? And everyone's like, oh no, what's going to happen? And then Brandon Stevens, and it really, you could sense it week by week, the confidence, but then he started getting recognition. So I like that one. That was great. Who was brave enough to go next?
I got two here.
Yes.
My first one is Justice Hill,
Nice. Oh, my.
because Justice, former Achilles guy, just like me. So as a guy who tore my Achilles, I've leaned on him a lot through this process, talked with him a bunch, and seeing him out on the field doing the things that he's doing is really inspiring to me and makes me feel good that, you know, maybe I'm going to be able to come back and bounce back and do that thing. Cause that is a scary part of having this type of injury. You have the thoughts of like, am I ever going to be able to make a cut or jump or run or do anything like that again? So when you get a guy like Justice Hill, who's playing really good football, one of our best running backs, extremely explosive, does a lot of stuff on special teams. I really like where he's at. And for me personally, I love watching him play. My second guy is Geno Smith. I got a soft spot for Geno. He's PP on the punt team.
Geno Stone.
Geno Stone. Sorry, I don't know.
It's all right. Zach did it last week.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Only
I do it
reason
all
we
the time.
know
I
is
do it all the
because
time.
I did it
Yeah.
twice last
Yeah.
week.
Okay, Geno Stone. I apologize, Geno. Geno is one of my buddies. We came in here together. We got here in 2020. We've worked very closely over the last 4 years, in the weight room and on the practice field. And now the last 2 seasons, he kind of took over on the punt team as a PP. which for those of you who don't know is kind of the quarterback of the punt team, kind of calls the play and operates or runs the operation. To see him step up this year, lead the team in interceptions, and make a huge impact on our defense and become one of our best players for a guy who most people probably looked at as, oh, he's just a special teams guy. Yeah. I think he played a lot last season, and then this year he's kind of showed that he's more than special teams and that he's going to be a standout defensive player in the NFL for a long time coming. I just hope it's still here with the Ravens. And, I love both of these guys, and I think they're outstanding players.
Yeah, if you just want to let Justice know that maybe some people have money on him getting in the end zone 3 times on
3 times.
Yeah, I had a dream that he did it, so I had to put $5 on it.
What's the payout? $900. That's a fair $5 loss.
I was sitting there, I had the dream, and I was like, well, what is the payout? And I saw it, and I was like, I've spent $5.
His tough part is Gus the bus, man.
I know.
Gus is our touchdown machine.
I'm not gonna lie. In the dream, I'm talking like this was 20 yards out. Homeboy was getting squiggly, and
that's what he did. He's so good at that. Yeah. So I hope he gets 3 touchdowns too.
Thank you.
I think every Ravens fan would love that, and then Zach would like it even more. It'd be a win-win for Zach on a few ways.
Hill would be going crazy.
Yes, it would. And also just to wrap that in right there too, what I love is. That was the name. Was anyone really talking about Justice Hill going into the season or Geno Stone?
They were talking about if he would make the team.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my point. Is that I love that you gave recognition to those guys, and this was kind of the point of it. The stars get the credit like they should, right?
Yep.
But these are guys that make the season. When you look back and go, man, they made huge impacts. The running back room gets hurt. J.K. Dobbins going down. What's going to happen? Gus has played great. Oh, why is Justice Hill on the field? Well, guess what? Because Justice can make plays. And he took that opportunity and he stabilized it behind Gus and his role. And that's helped the Ravens out tremendously. And Geno Stone speaks for itself. What a season it's been for him. So I hope both stay Ravens for as long as they can, but it's a business. Who's up next? I know Rocco's doing his work. Kevin?
I'll take it. And one more point about Geno, too, and this is something that not a lot of, or maybe some people do, but not a lot of people remember, is Geno was cut twice his rookie season. And he lashed on with Houston for the final part of his rookie year, and then the Ravens brought him back. And it's just another kind of point in his story where he goes through this, he comes back, and he works to become the player he is today. And it's super well-deserved and well-earned for Geno, 100%.
I totally forgot about Houston.
Yeah. People, I put that graphic on. People think I photoshopped it because
I remember he was gone. I was like, "Where's Geno?"
Yeah, right.
I had no clue that he wasn't there.
Wait a minute. So when did you realize? Were you like sitting in like the cafeteria? You're like in the locker room. I could see like maybe you're like a little.
No, we were at.
Looking around at me like, wait a second. You're like in Houston.
It happens sometimes. Okay. We're both in rookies 2020. I'm on P squad. He was kind of up and down, doing a little bit of both. And you just like sometimes people just aren't there. And it in 2020, especially because there was COVID. There was so much there was so many guys coming in, coming out, doing because of COVID, it was just crazy. And so like there's so much turnover that you're just not, and you're like getting used to knowing people. And by the time it was probably like a week, I was like, where's Geno? And they were like, oh, he got picked up by Houston. I was like, oh,
was this like a wait? Something feels different here. Like
it happens, dude. It happens, especially like, just this year, I've just not been able to pay attention as much. But even, practice squad guys, there's constant. In my first 2 years here, we had so many guys coming in the door. We had so many injuries, especially on offense with tight ends and running backs and all that stuff between 2020 and 2021. It's hard to keep up with who's in and who's out. And that's just the reality of the NFL.
I'll give you that. It was
revolving
2020 and that, I didn't think, but that was the way you said,
I honestly didn't forget all about it.
It's like 2 weeks in, Geno finally is like settled in Houston. He's getting a text from Nick Moore. Go be great, brother.
Yes. Glad he's back on our team, though. Glad he's back here.
I'm glad I called that guy. Glad that guy's in Baltimore.
So if he would have just came back without you noticing, you probably would have been like, wow, he just really skipped like 4 weeks of the season. No one's going to yell at him.
Went on vacation, just pulled a Dennis Rodman.
Crazier things have happened in my time here.
Whoa, we'll have to wait for that one. Kevin, have you said a player yet?
Yeah,
no,
ahead, Kevin.
No. I'm glad we got that story out. But speaking of that 2020 season, I think Patrick Queen's been such a cool story. I mean, that 2020 year, Nick, I know you can attest to it, with the virtual workouts and, coming in and everything being so weird for that rookie class. We're kind of seeing that whole class now with Patrick Queen and Justin Madubuike and Gino and all these guys. We knew they had potential coming in. But with Patrick, I think it was a little bit of, him just learning the game a little bit. And he was a good player still, but there was some ups and there were some downs over the first couple years of his career. And then we've just seen this just upward trajectory. Really, last year is when it started. The upward trajectory of him, where we saw the flashes his first couple of seasons. And it's kind of all come together for him into him playing next to Roquan. And Roquan came in, he helped the entire defense. There's this narrative out there that Roquan elevated Patrick Queen. Patrick was playing really well before Roquan came in the first place. So those two have fit really well together. And for all the flack he got, whether it was on social media or just some other people, some of it was very undeserved, by the way. Patrick has come in and really become this guy who I think is going to be a very popular name come free agency. He's been a very popular name here in Baltimore. Without him, I mean, there's a lot that you can talk about, all these players in the Ravens defense stepping up. Patrick's been a really good story in Baltimore, and where he is from where he was his rookie season to where he is now, it's night and day. And sometimes it just takes a little time to get acclimated, and it takes longer for some than others. We saw the flashes again, those first couple of seasons. Now it's all come together for him. It's really cool for me.
I think you brought up a great point there. I think everyone has this idea, right, that you come into the league, you got to be a superstar right now. You got to, because guys like Micah Parsons are going out there on the defensive side, and you're like, why the hell were you in college for so long, right? And that's a big part. Not everyone is ready. And for Patrick Queen, great year for LSU that in the championship year, but that's still a huge adjustment for a guy that hadn't played a lot at that position.
It is, and I think you talk about expectations. I mean, who is the first-round linebacker we were talking about 30 minutes earlier? Ray Lewis. And expectations of, oh, well, Ray was this first-round linebacker, and did anybody expect Patrick Queen, to come in and immediately be Ray Lewis? I don't think that, that's something that I don't think people were, but it's, oh, well, this linebacker we drafted in the first round turned into this guy, so all of a sudden Patrick Queen has to be this guy from the start, and that just wasn't fair to him. Now we're seeing the player Patrick Queen can be, and I think it's perfect what the Ravens want to do on defense. And especially, I talked about it, where if you put him on a team that was, maybe rebuilding, like I don't remember who was at the time, but I think there would be more error to make mistakes and say, hey, you can play through this mistake. But since the Ravens were competing when they brought him in, it was, well, you can't do this. And I know he's talked about that game he played against Kansas City, his second ever game, where he struggled in that game, but he learned from it. I think it's really come together for him too, where the expectations for him should have never been, this great all-time linebacker the first game he played in the league, right? You had to work up to it, and I think he's turned into just the player the Ravens need right now.
No doubt about it. Brad, you got something for me?
Yeah, so mine's probably, I don't know, a little bit off the beaten path, but I don't feel like it gets talked about enough, and that's just Eric DeCosta. The way that he's put this team together, just being able to find the talent. Kyle Van Noy was sitting on his couch, dicking around with Pat McAfee the first half of the season, brings him in, and Jadeveon Clowney actually said it late or earlier last week or a week before, just talking about like how he was able to bring all these people in to basically make a monster team. And so I know that like Eric had gotten a lot of criticism, especially for like the being able to draft wide receivers or getting a wide receiver on the team. But I think that this year has just been the year where he's kind of put it all together, and it's all gelled and really made the best team that he's had since taking over for Ozzie. I think it's just, it's been pretty awesome.
No doubt about it.
I couldn't agree more with that one.
Yeah. I think Eric, everyone wants someone to blame, right? It's going to be either the quarterback of the team, the head coach, the coaching staff, the GM. You made the wrong choices. For the majority of the time that Eric DeCosta has been the Ravens GM, he has made a lot of right choices, and sometimes it needs time to flourish.
Oh, yeah, just look at the Lamar, contract. I believe John Harbaugh was on Adam Schefter's podcast earlier this week, and he had been asked about it, and he was like, Lamar's my guy, was always my guy. There was never any doubt that they weren't going to get that deal done. Everybody else was worried about it. Obviously, they let Lamar kind of do his thing, but there was never any wavering. And so, like, from that point on, it was just awesome to kind of see it all come together, kind of at the hands of Eric and John.
And to John's credit there, that entire time he was true to that exact thing. The whole time it was Lamar's the guy, Lamar's my quarterback, Lamar's our quarterback. He never wavered from it. And obviously
that's been a constant since I've been on the team. So I don't think that's going anywhere.
No,
I think he's the guy for Baltimore.
I hope not. I hope none of them are going anywhere for a while. Rock, I know you might have had yours stolen away. Are you back there still, bud?
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
so
shout out
I
to
think
Kevin. Kevin got the
Was that,
payback.
did I do it? Oh, I didn't.
Zach's
I
question.
didn't-
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
I got
sing
revenge for you,
Patrick
Zach. I
Queen's
got revenge.
praises
Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
about getting his 5th-year option declined, coming to work every day, embodying everything that it means to be a Raven. But you know what? Kevin took that from me. So
I actually wasn't going to say him at first. It was a last second decision for
You got to
me.
pick
'cause
someone
I-
else, Rocco.
All right, man. Yeah, I got to pick someone else now, or I could
Yes,
be like,
no
Yeah, go ahead, Rock.
There's plenty of other guys.
Nick, you pick 2
Good thing
people.
there's an entire 53-man
You
roster.
pick 2.
I had perfectly good reasons to pick
That's
both of
fair.
them.
That's fair.
There
All
are
right.
48 guys remaining on the
Mine,
roster. of not
anyway, mine, since we're talking about Eric DaCosta and hitting on draft picks, is Kyle Hamilton. And year 2 for Kyle Hamilton has just been, I mean, everything you could have asked for, taking him with the 14th overall pick last season. And people are like, damn, this dude really fell to the Ravens, a lot of analysts and experts. And then you go to the first stadium practice for the Ravens, and he gets torched on a one-on-one by undrafted wide receiver Bailey Gaither. I believe that was his name. And he took Kyle Hamilton for a touchdown. And like, I'd love to ask Kyle Hamilton about that, like a year from now, just saying like that moment, like seeing everything on social media, like how crazy was that in your life? Because Ravens fans and football fans were calling this guy out. Like, this is what we got. This is really what we got. You know what you got in Kyle Hamilton? You got a first team All-Pro. You got a Pro Bowler. You got someone who is an absolute Swiss Army knife, who Jadeveon Clowney calls the Avatar because how he's built. He's a guy, Nick, you called him the most athletic player on the team. If you were building a team, Kyle Hamilton's the guy that you would pick because of how athletic he is. This guy does all the right things on the field. He's super athletic, and he's everything that Ravens fans would want in a football player. The way he's able to line up at the line of scrimmage and sack a quarterback, to covering tight ends, to covering deep in the secondary. I mean, Kyle Hamilton is a true Swiss Army knife. And shout out to Eric DaCosta for getting Kyle Hamilton here in Baltimore, him falling to 14. I mean, the dude is generational, and he is going to be a Ravens favorite for years and years to come.
I can't agree more. Kyle Hamilton, again, I think fair to say, guys, here that the Ravens on the defensive side, they were missing the guy that'd be the hammer, and they'd have that playmaker in the secondary. Well, guess what? That who I'm referring to is Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, obviously. But who do the Ravens have now? Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. Different type of playmaker that Kyle Hamilton is, but a guy that can really still do it all. And that's something that's been so damn fun to watch. All right, I'm going to do mine real quick here. And I think it's just I appreciate the boys in the trenches, okay? And there's a few of them, but I want to start first on Matt Abike's gotten his flowers, rightfully so. I think people in Baltimore knew he was going to take off. But I'm going to go the offensive line here. How about Kevin Zeitler? How about Tyler Linderbaum? How about 2 guys right up front there that do the dirty work constantly over? And Zeitler, this is his chance right here. This is an opportunity. Doesn't get the recognition for Pro Bowls. Doesn't get the recognition about being one of the best guards in the game, right? And all he's done has been a stable force for Lamar Jackson, which people don't talk about. Then you have Tyler Linderbaum that stepped in and has been really that anchor of that offensive line. I don't think they get talked about enough. There are so many, like, that's the thing. This is why I wanted to do this. There's so many players that we're not even talking about right now, but guys that never get the credit are guys like Zeitler and Linderbaum, and they've been balling out. Did you see when Lamar Jackson scored his touchdown 2 on the run? Linderbaum's hauling ass down the field on
Oh, baby. Dude, I said something to him on Monday. When I saw him, the first time I saw him after that game, I was like, I saw you out there, dude. I saw you. I was like, you totally missed him, but you got him just enough to make him run around you. But you look like an athlete. And he was like, yeah, dude, Lamar just told me to run straight at the guy and he'll figure it out. That's basically what he did. That's exactly what happened. So, but I love both those guys, man. Kevin and Tyler. Tyler in his second year, another first rounder, unbelievable talent, going to be, Jason Kelsey-esque. He's going to be one of the best centers. And Kevin is just a statue. He's just an absolute beast at guard, has been a staple in the NFL for a long time. And he does not get the credit he deserves. He's an unbelievable talent. And, I'm just glad he's here, and I love the guy.
Not only are we starting a Nick Moore Pro Bowl agenda next year, we're doing Kevin Zeitler
Kevin
as well.
Zeitler
He
has to get a Pro Bowl.
At some
Yeah,
point.
did his wife say something about like we put that
we
clip
all-
about Kevin
it's
Zeitler and
insane.
his wife like I don't know reposted it or
Yeah,
commented.
no, I mean it's
yeah.
ridiculous. They just never
It's
get.
there's got to be a conspiracy.
It has
now.
to.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember.
it's
an
like they're
inside
intentionally holding him out. They're like, yeah, let's just see how long we can do this before
Yep.
people realize
They're like-
we're holding Kevin out of the Pro Bowl.
They're like laughing. They're like, what? We're gonna put him in instead. They're like all laughing around.
He wins the
It's like,
vote. Someone's like, nah, that's wrong. Switch the names real quick.
hits the little delete key on the thing. Everyone's like snickering around the computer. They're like, oh, he's gonna love this.
I mean, how is he not in the Pro Bowl?
I don't
It's
know.
unreal.
Every
Well,
year.
I
But-
just don't understand it.
But you know what? I think he'll settle, guys, if the Ravens win
I
the
mean,
Super
yeah, he
Bowl.
wants. Kevin's a guy who all he wants to do is win football games and win a Super Bowl. So he could care less about the Pro Bowl.
Well, and I agree with you. And hey, we've been here for a while, guys. I think we should wrap it up here. And if you
Yeah, real
just
quick.
yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I did want to. We know tomorrow's Kevin's birthday, but it's his golden birthday too. He
That's
just
right.
texted me-
26th on the 26th.
Whoa,
Wow.
Kevin.
Crazy. I'll clap for
Nice.
myself.
Gotta
I'll
get
put-
your, you got to get on your own health insurance.
Yeah, I'm already. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm there.
Make sure you make that phone call at midnight.
Yeah, you don't know what happens there. And we will answer questions like this moving forward. Better shirtless drunk, Travis Kelce or Ronnie, or sorry, Jason Kelce or Ronnie. Jason Kelce, by the way, if he takes his shirt off at the bank, I think everyone's fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm cool. with
Yeah.
that.
I just want to chug off between like on opposite sides of the stadium, like Stavi and Jason Kelce. I think like a shirtless chug off would break the internet.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be incredible.
I don't think anyone would know what to do, but I think
No.
I think we would stop play.
Yeah,
Stop
like
the
they
game.
would just be like everyone, it would become a madhouse. Like people would be too fired up. Like even Roquan would be like, "Whoa, this is getting out of hand."
Well, I don't know. Roquan.
Yeah, maybe not Roquan.
Maybe not Roquan. Everyone,
Roquan would probably still be the craziest guy in there.
probably. All right. Any final thoughts, concerns? Are we good to go to get out of here?
Let's
Rock,
get the
any
hell outta here.
thoughts?
No, I was just literally gonna hit you guys up in the private chat and say I got to roll. So perfect.
Thank goodness you got to go.
Good, get
Well,
outta here.
everyone, if you are new to the channel here, hit that like and subscribe button, and thank you for tuning in. We're gonna be back on Sunday morning to get you going. We're gonna have pregame talking the Ravens Chiefs, the biggest game in Baltimore Ravens history for home games. That is playoffs, trip to the Super Bowl, defending champs in Baltimore, Mahomes, Jackson. You name it, it's going to be a show that you do not want to miss. But start your day with us, and we will have that posted on our social accounts. I'm at Ryan Ripken. We got at Zach Bollinger, Own the
18.
Chaos. We got Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oyster Striker, Ostriker, Nick Moore, not on Twitter or X.
Not on Twitter.
But
Or X.
But guys, and we got Rocco that just left. Good to see you, kid. You're a good kid. But for all of us, thank you for tuning into the Ryan Ripken Show. We will see you on Sunday for Ravens Chiefs pregame. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.